right, and we are live. What is going on, my specialist SPC here, and welcome back to an all-new episode of the Midwest Cantina podcast. So, first of all, guys, hope you guys had a good Friday the 13th. I did Halloween stuff on Friday the 13th. No Jason stuff. A little weird for me, but yeah, guys, we got one heck of a show today. I'm super excited. We are going to be talking about the David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy. And I got myself a couple of guests who are here today to join me. We are here with Connor from Not That Bad, a movie podcast. Connor, how you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you for having me tonight.
Oh, yes, not a problem. And we also got Brett from Good Real Hunting. Brett, thanks for coming back on, man. How are you doing today?
Man, dude, I am doing fantastic. I lost a couple of years off my life today as a Tennessee Volunteer fan, but you know what? I'm glad I'm here to talk about some David Gordon Green trilogy because I do have some opinions on that trilogy.
And guys, I do have links to both Connor and Brett's YouTube channels down in the description box below. Make sure you guys go head on over, check out their stuff. Connor, actually, they did a live review of Halloween Ends here a while back. I think it was their very first live, if I remember right.
It was, yeah. First live stream. We had Tony Crespo from Flopbuster on, good friends of our show. And it was our first time going live. And hopefully we got another one coming up very soon that we're excited about. So, yeah, we're first ever one covered Halloween Ends.
Mm-hmm. You guys check out Brett's channel. Yesterday they did Friday the 13th trivia. So definitely make sure you guys head on over, go check out both their channels. They're great content creators, man. These guys definitely deserve everything they've got. So
especially this gentleman up here, definitely subscribe over to his channel because he does put in a lot of work on his channel and he needs to get his just deserves. Like you really deserve it, Austin. So we need to push him, man.
Yeah, right back at you, man.
I appreciate that, guys. So, and also today today is officially the 1 year anniversary for Halloween Ends. So
this is where I take my leave.
Well, we all know Brett's opinion on that one, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's why I couldn't have Brad here tonight because he loves Halloween Ends and we'd be fist fighting up to this point. So,
all right, well.
Uh-oh.
We will obviously spend some time talking about Ends since, again, it's the 1 year anniversary and it is the latest film in the franchise. But obviously, I think the best place for us to obviously start, of course, was when the news actually dropped for when we actually were getting a new Halloween film. And at least at the time, all we knew was it was going to be the one. We got the promotional stuff with Laurie all dressed up. And obviously Michael, and of course a lot of people were a little concerned as to why Jamie Lee Curtis was coming back. So, Connor, I think we're going to start off with you. What was your thought when you heard that Jamie Lee Curtis was coming back to Halloween, and I guess just in general, a new Halloween film coming on?
When I heard a new Halloween was coming, it's hard not to be excited as a massive fan of the franchise. I will say, hearing the news that Jamie Lee Curtis was coming back concerned me a bit. At least at the time, I was not very high on H20, which was the last time it's the last time we saw her in a real prominent role. Obviously, Resurrection is when that character was kind of killed off, but it was the last time we saw her in a prominent role, and I really wasn't a fan of that. So I appreciated that they wanted to give something to the fans that they liked. But I'll be honest, when I heard they were going to be doing a new Halloween film, I was really hoping that we'd get some justice for some old characters. Maybe we would even get a full-on reboot. But hearing that it was just like it was a reboot in a way, but going back and retconning all those sequels and just picking up where the first one kind of left off in a way, it concerned me, to say the least, when I heard that news back in 2017, 2018, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I think your audio is out, Austin.
Audio is out.
It sounds
barely.
It sounds distant.
Boy, hello.
There we go.
I heard that.
Okay.
There we go. Yes, sir.
What the heck? Anyway, Brett, how about you? How did you feel about this news when it dropped?
When it first dropped, I didn't honestly think too much of it because this was around the time I was still getting into the horror genre. I'll admit I was very late to the game with horror movies. It finally had to sit me in the chair forcefully to watch The Conjuring in order to start to loving the horror genre. And my best friend Brad, who I do the show Good Will Hunting with, we did the marathons of Friday the 13th, and he goes, okay, we'll watch the first 4 together, but you watch them on your own. But this is the franchise you need to watch, and this is Halloween. So I got through a lot of the Halloween franchise. So I had some similarity to what Halloween is and how important it is to people, the big four. If everyone heard this announcement, when I heard Jamie Lee Curtis was coming back, it's like, so now you're telling me my first Halloween in the theater is going to be with Michael Myers returning and Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode coming back? I was excited right off the get-go.
Yeah, all I knew is that a new Halloween film was coming in. I only heard about Jamie Lee Curtis at the time. I was just like, oh, cool, Halloween. That's all I care about. I just want a new Halloween film. So
yeah,
finally got to see that, and I didn't get to go see it opening night, unfortunately, but after I did finally get to go see it, I know me and my buddy Ethan, we did like a live review, like right out of the theater right away. But man, I gotta say, 2018, I think, kind of changed the way I watch this franchise because, like, there are lots of movies. I mean, lots of movies I used to not really like very much. 3 huge examples. Season of the Witch. When I watched it at first, I was like 13, hated it because Michael Myers wasn't in it, so automatically hated it. Curse of Michael Myers, I think that one's kind of self-explanatory, the whole Cult of Thorn stuff, Still don't really like that, but I've come around to it quite a bit. And for many, many years, until probably the last 2 years, I despised Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And I mean, like, despised. It was the worst. To me, it was the worst Halloween film, the worst horror movie, and hands down the worst movie I ever saw in my entire life. And to some shocking surprises over the last 2 years now, since Halloween Kills, when I finally decided to come back and rewatch it, it's now my 3rd favorite Halloween film.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
Which is crazy because I never in a million years dreamt that I would have Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 at number 3 in my rankings. So
Rob Zombie's cinematic masterpiece is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Yeah,
damn right.
Damn
yes,
right,
sir. Damn right. This could be a fan club right here, truthfully, for that movie.
Yeah, let's lose those subscribers. Let's lose them. No,
I know we're not talking about that one, so I'm not going to spend time on it. But yes, we could easily be a fan club. Oh no!
Yeah, Ashton here still despise Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Sorry, not sorry.
It is Brett, you son of a bee.
I respect
His name is Brett.
I can understand. Obviously, I used to be in their shoes as to why I
Me too.
That film.
I started hating it too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's why I hold Halloween 2018 in such high regards for myself because, like, again, it changed the way I watch the franchise. Like, my list has drastically changed over the years. But the thing I love about 2018 is it's really just back to basics for a Halloween film. We don't have the whole relationship between Laurie and Michael and them being brother sister. We don't have a Cult of Thorn. We don't have the nieces. We're literally just Michael Myers is evil and he's just there to kill. And to me, I think that was the best direction they could have went, in all honesty. I mean, I wouldn't have mind maybe seeing like some things come in, like maybe have like Danielle Harris actually be Laurie's daughter and actually have that relationship between one another, because that's one thing we were robbed of. We never really got to see that. And obviously, of course, we did get to see Danielle Harris come back to the franchise and be probably, honestly, one of the better characters in the Rob Zombie films.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But What is your guys' actual thoughts about Halloween 2018? Do you think that was the right direction, or do you think that they should have picked a different, I guess, concept? I guess we could say.
Brett, I'll defer to you.
Sure. Yeah, I did like the direction they went, just because I thought it was a good kind of like centerpiece to play off of, like for the other two movies, because you did your most important jobs. You brought back Michael to a modern audience, like changing his look, not too much, but you're changing his look to a more awesome look. And just like, and again, it's realistic. Like the mask is like how many years old at this point? I forgot the math of it.
40.
So the mask was going to de-age. So I thought they did a fabulous job with the mask. Then you had your next set of business is to bring back Laurie Strode on how to make sense of that, which I know a lot of people prefer the H2O method of the Laurie Strode of like the trauma and all that, but I actually more prefer 2018 because like today's like times, if you're going to go crazy, you're going to go gun heavy. Just to protect yourself. So I think, in my opinion, is more realistic. And plus, I'm pretty sure you could drink Chardonnay while shooting guns at the exact same time. So, but then other than that, your most important thing is where do we go from here to set up the future and to bring on future fans for this property, not just Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. And we did that excellent with a character named Allison, played by Andy Matichek, which I thought she was a beautiful addition to this franchise. For this movie, for the other two, I'll discuss later how they messed that up. But for this particular one in 2018, it's like, oh, we get this brand new actress, kind of like the Laurie Strode treatment, but for this generation, someone we can get behind. I thought they did a brilliant job setting up a bunch of pieces to finish out the other two films in this trilogy.
Yeah, I at the time, I will be honest, like I didn't start out being a big champion for what they did. I liked the movie a lot. But as far as direction goes, like only later when I had a clear mind, I think anybody who's a fan of something, when you first watch a new entry into a franchise you love or a new version of a television show you might love, whatever it may be, there's going to be mixed emotions there. For me, there definitely was. Being a huge fan of of Halloween 4 and 5, I would have loved to have seen Jamie Lloyd come back. I think she is one of the best characters in the franchise. It changed the game in my mind and kept everything going. Having this child be the focal point of a slasher film was something that just, I mean, if it was done before, it was mostly teenagers, college age kids, but this is a kid. Like in being 9 years old when I watched Halloween 5 for the first time, my first ever horror film, it scared the life out of me. But as I've gotten further away from 2018, it's very easy to see that it was the right decision to go. I think fans, by and large, would know the story of the first film more than any of its sequels. So I think it's a very good idea to go back to basics, to go back to the original film and build on a concept with a familiar character, with several familiar characters. And while some will say that it is fan service, I think it's a much needed fan service with a good starting point to continue I'll say a theme that was set up by the first movie.
I guess, would you say that this Halloween film, do you think it did it better than what it did with Star Wars?
I don't want to say yet because we have two more movies to go, and I don't want to say yet exactly how I feel. I think they're comparable. Like the decisions that were made, generally speaking, when you look at these three films as a whole, right? You have the really safe, familiar first entry to set up the next two movies. Then you have the one that divided people. Some think it's one of the better ones, maybe the best. Some think it's one of the worst that the franchise has ever seen. And then you have a third one, which a lot of people piled on top of as far as thinking it was just the worst thing that's ever touched this franchise, or at least one of them. To have two franchises that were pretty beloved and just happened to be both my favorite film franchises go through that sort of progression, it's really strange, but they're extremely similar to each other in that regard. Safe first movie, divisive second movie and movie that really the audience sort of reunited together to shit all over. So yeah, I think they're similar. I don't know if I want to say yet if they've if I agree with that, but
Are you talking about the first movie or the trilogy itself?
More along the lines of the first movie right now, because like I don't know, I feel like obviously, you know, like Force Awakens, I will willingly say it, like it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Like it's literally probably like my number 4th favorite film of all time. But
nice.
Yeah.
That is how I look at like both of these first films, like because I really love this first Halloween film in this trilogy. And same thing too with Force Awakens. To me, I just feel like it's the safest route to go because I think it's just bringing fans back in. Obviously, you know, we didn't get anything for 9 full years, so obviously it's the best way to just give us a more vicious Michael Myers, not just get the very subtle amount of like blood and violence that we get in the original Halloween, which to this day a lot of people will say it's very tame, which I would agree. I mean, obviously, but that's not the thing that makes Halloween scary is, you know, blood, guts, and gore and lots of kills and stuff like Halloween Kills does. Like, just the essence of Michael Myers makes the film scary. And that's how I actually felt about 2018, but I thought it did do a good blend of having that supernatural, just eeriness of Michael Myers, but you get a nice, good, like, vicious Michael Myers too. So that's the thing I will still say this franchise has done well, especially this trilogy, man. Michael Myers this is my favorite Michael Myers of the entire franchise for me.
Oh, hell yeah. But I would probably say, like, if we're going along those lines, I think both the Star Wars and the Halloween ones, they did an equal good job because, like you all said, it's important to bring back people, like the audience, to their seats. But I think the most important thing they have to do is to get a newer audience, so you know your franchise is going to be taken care of in the future. And I thought both movies did a very good job of. But if we're talking about the trilogy, I'm actually going to give the advantage to Star Wars on this because of the fact they have more problems to deal with, meaning like different directors, while the Halloween franchise had the exact same director and pretty much very close to the exact same team. If it goes from here to here, like that's no excuse in my opinion if you have that continuity. But with the Star Wars, it had here, and then it had here, and then you had the guy J.J. Abrams from the first movie trying to fix everything that Rian Johnson pretty much screwed up in the third movie, trying to pretty much do 2 movies in one. So that's why I'm going Star Wars, because they have more to overcome versus what Halloween had to do. That's just my opinion.
See, I honestly, like a couple of months ago, I probably would have said the same thing. To me, they're pretty like even now for me personally, because I am that one guy who actually likes the sequels. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but that's just my opinion. I like it, so just saying. But
keep liking what you like. I dig it.
Yes. And even the same thing too with this trilogy. Like, I haven't quite decided this is like my favorite trilogy out of everything, or if I still like other trilogies a little bit more. I'm not really decided yet, but regardless, man, when this film came out, I was on cloud 9. Like, I was so in love with this. And again, like, it's still to this day, 5 years later, it's my second favorite Halloween film. Still my favorite sequel, because I just feel like it hits the right notes, at least for me. Obviously, you know, later films don't really hit a lot of the same beats, which had similar opinions, kind of like I did with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, but obviously I've come around quite a bit to the other two. But I guess really the first thing I do want to focus on with 2018 as well, obviously besides Michael Myers, because again, to me, this is the best Michael Myers we've gotten, at least even since Nick Castle, personally, is like the introduction of these new characters. I mean, obviously we talked a little bit about Allison, but I'll be honest, I think I almost like her a little more than Laurie Strode as a final girl for at least a first film. So I'm just kind of curious, because obviously, you know, we get personally 3 different completely different versions of Allison in this franchise. But
Mhm.
do you guys feel that Allison should have been, like the true final girl for this series? Should maybe Lori have been killed off? Because to my knowledge, this was only supposed to be a one-time film. Like, this was actually supposed to be like the end, because there's lots of leaks around, saying how this film was actually supposed to end. And we saw even in one of the trailers, there's supposed to be a fight out in front of Lori's house. We weren't supposed to get, the entire compound burning. They were supposed to have a little knife fight in front of the house. And apparently Allison was supposed to shoot Michael with an arrow. And it was supposed to be a very devastating blow. He was just supposed to walk into the woods and basically die. So, and to be honest, I don't know if I really like that. I think I like the ending we got a little bit more, but yeah, what's you guys' thoughts on Allison as a character, Connor?
I made a joke on our first live stream that I am the Grand Admiral of the Allison fan club. That is kind of the case still. I think as a character, to introduce her, she's everything that a final girl should be. I think when you bring her in, she had, I would argue, more charisma, more magnetism than Jamie Lee Curtis did in the first Halloween. Obviously, that character is much more iconic, and I would, there's reason for that. That Laurie was kind of the perfect final girl of that era of horror. And I'm not going to dispute that, despite, the fact that she's not in my top, group of characters. She's still of the utmost importance. But Allison, I do believe, should have played a different role. I will. It's going to be easier to get into as we go throughout these movies, but I think ending this the way that they did, honestly, was the best way to do it. When you give the audience a reason to believe that they could get more, you have a greater chance of leaving them wanting it. When they see something that is extremely conclusive, the end is there, they're going to walk away from that movie going, man, I really wish this wasn't it. I really want some more of this. And maybe people didn't love this movie when it came out. Maybe people did. It seems pretty consistent that it's a movie that people do overall enjoy. So leaving it on a note where, yeah, Michael Myers if they came out and said he's dead, it's done, you'd believe it. It's a way that you could end it without showing him dying, that I buy that he's dead. There could be no more movies and I'm satisfied. But it left me wanting more. I want him to come out of that burning house. I want to see him come out. Maybe literally the first thing I thought was, man, it would be so cool if like the next movie opened up with some firefighters and like he was just taking them all out. I was like, that'd be so cool if like they saved Michael and like Laurie's freaking out about it. I was so excited about what we could possibly get. So thinking that that's what they had in mind, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was a great way to end it. And I think Allison felt just about as important in the relation to what Michael is and what his focus is on as Laurie was in the movie, in this first one.
Yeah, I'm going to double down on what Connor said, because I thought they ended this movie perfectly. So like the way they ended it is kind of like, hey, let's end it like this. And let's pay attention to the box office numbers and what the people say. If they want more, we know exactly how to give them a sequel based off this. If they don't, we can officially end it right then and there and just we good. And we can move on to the idea of a Jamie Lloyd feature Halloween movie, which we still might get. So Miramax, if you're listening, please deliver. Please deliver on that, and for Season of the Witch as well. But yeah, I like how they ended 2018. They did that perfectly. But again, like I contest, the thing I think they nailed the most, and the most important thing, is introduce us to a brand new, like y'all said, a final girl that we all can love and support, or pretty much what the newer audience they can invest to, so they could carry on the future of the franchise. And I'll get more into that particular like subject in the ends discussion, because they kind of like intertwine with each other. But I thought Allison was such a well-written character and someone I could easily get invested in. Plus, any match check with her first real big time acting performance, like, of course, her scream wasn't the best, but you know what? That's her first horror movie. But I'm like the same. I liked Allison in this better than I did Laurie in '78. But I get two different timelines and like different like presentations of what a final girl is from then and today. So I totally understand that. But Allison is just the ultimate centerpiece that you got a character that people are interested in and you could carry the future of this franchise with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely did a good casting job because I did like her probably the most out of everybody. I definitely, personally, I liked her more than Laurie, which, we will talk about this version of Laurie here in a little bit. But I would agree with what you guys both said. I do feel that this was a character who definitely could have, like, carried on the franchise if, figuratively say, if like maybe halfway through Halloween Ends, if it would have been done a little differently, maybe they would have actually like killed off Laurie Strode, which I was under the impression they were going to do, but I feel like she definitely could have carried this franchise on for even just another like couple of movies if, Michael were to escape again, or if we got another 1978 ending where he just kind of disappears again. But unfortunately, I can't really say the same, though, for the other cast of characters we got, because the other, like, centerpieces we get with, like, her friends, to me, these are some of, like, the most forgettable characters in the franchise. To me. Like,
even Vicky? Oh, man, I love Vicky, though.
Even Vicky, even the dude from, God, what the hell is that movie called? Blockers, that kid from Blockers. Like,
you're gonna die, Dave.
I love Julian, man.
Julian's fantastic.
It just sucks the comedy is like not hitting where it should, but he was still probably
that is a Danny McBride problem.
Yeah, I figured.
Well, I just I admire that people from other genres, like I'm very big on giving people an opportunity to show what they can do. Like if nobody ever did that for Jordan Peele, we would have never gotten two of what I consider the greatest horror movies of this generation of horror movies, in Get Out and Us. And Jordan Peele, nobody would have thought that about him. He's very much been a comedian for his career. I mean, we went from Mad TV to Key and Peele, and Key and Peele definitely like mended they blended genres a few times in their sketches, but the basis was comedy. I think Danny McBride coming into this, I felt good about because I felt competent enough. I felt confident that he was competent enough to write this movie the right way. I don't think he did that terrible of a job, but I do think that some of the awkwardness in the comedy, I don't think he really has the ability to write comedy for the ages of the characters that are supposed to be funny. Julian, I think, is an exception. I was laughing anytime Julian was saying anything, but the teenage characters, like, we're supposed to be laughing at some of their interactions, and they're just not hitting. And I do agree that probably was mostly from Danny McBride, because David Gordon Green has a comedic mind himself, but something felt uniquely McBride about it. And I love him. I love Danny McBride, but
let me grab a bite of my peanut butter sandwich. Oh man, I got peanut butter with my penis.
Yeah,
that would make me cringe so hard of any line. I'm like, oh my, we just went there.
I actually think the guacamole one, I think that one got me a little worse than
the guacamole is sexy ways. Like,
yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Man, and that guy, Oscar, I was okay with him until that moment. He starts getting all weird and starts leaning in. He's like, "You deserve better." I'm like, "Oh, dude." And then she friend zones him. I'm like, "Oh man, I've been there. I feel bad." But then he has one of the best kills of the movie. So I'm like, "Okay, you're not that bad. You're better than Cameron, in my opinion, personally."
I bet even Michael felt bad. Like when he was in the yard, he was just staring at him and go, "Damn, sorry, dude. I really didn't want to kill you tonight, but I feel bad for you, so I'll make your pain very less painful."
Yeah, that's why he waited so long. He's standing there staring at him.
Contemplating.
He's like, "Should I kill this fucker? I don't know if I should kill this guy. I kind of want to kill him." He didn't break
the rules, but he did make the joke about the guacamole, and I love guacamole.
He's
so
like,
I gotta have to kill this guy.
Do I kill him or do I chance him becoming an incel? I think I'll just kill him. I think I'll kill him. That's good. I'll kill him.
want somebody to re-edit that scene, and as soon as Allison walks away, I want somebody to dub in "Love Hurts." Oh,
Oh.
that poor
Or
guy.
put the little like avocados from Mexico. Or
Good God.
God, that was the best opportunity for a commercial.
Product placement.
Yeah, Michael Myers covering up an avocado, makes some guacamole, and then you see Oscar in the living room with a bunch of females. So it's like, "Hey, Mikey, bring in the guacamole." Okay, we're getting way out of hand, so let's just skip all that.
God.
Oh God. On that note, I'll be going. No. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I made this awkward, so I apologize.
No. Oh man, that's funny. Oh.
Man, you know the next guy I want to talk about, man? Can we talk about that asshole Cameron?
Ooh,
That's my brother's name, actually. So.
Oh, I
ooh, hey.
apologize.
I'd much rather spend time with my brother than this fucking guy. Not a fan.
From this movie, I agree.
Yeah, we'll obviously get into kills in a moment, but yeah, yeah.
No, definitely earned douchebag award for this one. Like
he even drops a little more too if you watch the deleted scenes, because there's like a whole other scene where like there's a cop who comes and like arrests him and stuff. Man, he's a little bit better in kills, but yeah, in this film, man, I was not a fan. It was cool to actually see a final girl in the Halloween franchise actually like have somebody with, because obviously, of course, you know, Laurie, she's the nerdy one in school, doesn't have anybody, really likes that Ben Tramer guy, which they actually
absolutely destroyed in the second movie.
Oh my God, that poor dude. Oh man. That was one other thing I know my buddy Ethan, he was very like hell-bent on they should have. Like, he thinks they should have made this film after Halloween 2, but I was kind of sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, that really wouldn't make a lot of sense though, because like if they do that, you know, they have the Laurie Michael, you know, bond again, and we've already gotten that, so why give us another version of that, basically? And technically Michael should have actually been dead. I mean, it's pretty clear, you know, at the end of that film he definitely died. Same thing with Loomis. So that's my biggest complaint too about this film, and I don't know how you guys feel about it, but the whole Dr. Sartain stuff.
Wait, Dr. Sartain? I thought it was Dr. Sardine.
He looks like one. Yeah. I had such high hopes for this guy. Like, I was so interested in him, and you don't see him in the film for like a good like half hour, and I like completely forgot he was even in this film at all.
Honestly, I hate to say this, but I kind of liked what they did with Sartain. It didn't come until after I watched Ends, and after I watched Ends for the viewing that led to the Not That Bad episode. I sort of was indifferent towards Sartain. He did some good things, he did some bad things, filled some screen time, but at the end of the day, I like that we have this sort of polar opposite of Loomis. That's like, he took his fascination with Michael Myers to a different level. Like, Loomis was obsessed with Michael Myers, but he was obsessed with stopping this inevitable force of evil. Whereas on this side, Sartain is so fascinated by it that he gets sucked in and he becomes part of the problem. I do think we could have done a little bit more throughout to just remember that he's a character. You know, cut to a hospital of him like calling and finding out Michael's escaped, or, you know, give us a little bit more of him. But the twist comes out a little bit out of nowhere with him. But thinking of what the theme is throughout this, I'll say quadrilogy of movies, but I know this trilogy, it keeps with the theme very well. It's clear that he was corrupted by this, and you know, his fascination just took a different direction, and that happens in real life. So yeah, they could have done a little bit better about executing him as a character overall, but his existence, I think, is very well justified by the time you get to the end of this trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with the whole message about Michael is spreading evil, like just like the presence of Michael just changes like the whole town and changes people. Definitely changed Dr. Sartain for that reason. So I thought I didn't appreciate Sartain when I first watched the movie, but now I actually have a better appreciation. Plus, Connor, you said it absolutely perfect. He's the complete opposite of Dr. Loomis. So now I even enjoy him more. So I appreciate that, Connor.
Yeah.
Because I never thought of it that way. And I think that's brilliant. So I thought Sartain, like you said, Connor, he did a lot of good things. But when he put on that mask, he did a lot of bad things in this movie too. I wasn't a big fan of him putting on the Michael mask. I was like, ouch, that's painful to watch. But other than that, I thought he was a solid character in this movie.
It's fair.
And I mean, like, again, like with what the message is with ends, and I think that's one reason I'm coming around a lot to like this trilogy as a whole. You know how like evil doesn't die; it changes shape, and obviously, like you guys said, you know, Michael spreads his evil throughout the town. I mean, you get Sartain in this film, you get pretty much the entirety of Haddonfield in the next film, and then of course you get Corey in the next film, along with our wonderful band Geeks, which we're gonna talk heavily about them when we get to that.
Oh boy, the band Geeks.
Yes. But you know, you guys say that, I do kind of have a little bit of a different opinion about Sartain. I do want to go back and rewatch these for whatever reason. I watched all these back in like July because I was just like, oh. So I finally decided to sit down and finally rewatch Ends for the first time since I saw it in theaters, and I was like, well, I guess I should go back and watch the other two. I should have watched the other two first, kind of worked my way to it. So
it happens.
I watched it in a weird order, but again, didn't really ruin my experience. But yeah, I definitely like the direction that they went with this. Again, with evil, like that's really what they focused on a lot, was evil in this new series. And now we get another new kid for Lori once again. So this is now what, her third kid now in this franchise?
Yeah. third child who that ignores the other child before it. In Karen's case, ignores the other two children that came before. Such a shame.
This to me is the worst kid of them all.
She just doesn't do anything.
She doesn't. I truly believe it's an actual like Judy Greer thing. I really don't think I like Judy Greer. Everything I've seen her in, she's not very great. Like her one line, or her most iconic line we get in Jurassic World is just cringe. Like I've never cringed so hard watching a movie in my life.
Oh jeez.
If anything happens, run.
Yeah, see, you delivered it better than she did. That is so sad. She gets one redeeming moment in this film where I was like, okay, that was cool. She's pretty cool, but the rest of it, I'm like, no, like she's wearing a Christmas sweater. She's talking about sunshine and rainbows the entire time, and
which again, I understand that. Because again, she was raised in a rough childhood on just feared the whole season of Halloween, and the best way she can cope with all that trauma as a kid is to do something more positive holiday like Christmas. So I can understand her wearing a Christmas sweater around Halloween season. I will defend that with her, but for the whole franchise, I do not like her. But I did love what they did with her in 2018, especially with the whole gotcha. I think that was perfect. We can build upon that. Unfortunately, they just brought her back exactly the same way in Kills than they did in 2018, and that really pissed me off.
Yeah, and that whole scene with her talking to Allison outside of the restaurant.
Oh god, dude, that was so bad.
I never told you what happened in my childhood. Like,
so robotic. Like, yeah, I never told you what happened to your father.
I really do. I think it's a Judy Greer thing. I don't think I like her. I've tried.
I liked her in Mean Girls, Judy Greer.
I like Judy Greer. I think she's a good actress overall. I think she was miscast for this role. I think there's a few roles in this trilogy that I think are pretty seriously miscast. This is not the most egregious of them, but and I think the reason for that is I'm okay with it because they didn't really do a whole lot with the character. She felt like she existed to die. And I said that when I watched the first one. I'm like, I can't believe she lived through this. Obviously that would change, but I couldn't believe she lived through the first movie. She felt like a character who was there to give us just enough heart and connection to the other two that it means that much more when she dies. So now Laurie and Allison have another obstacle to get over. That's what it felt like to me. But I think despite my thoughts on this trilogy as a whole, I think a few characters were pretty mishandled. If you're going to bring a daughter character into this, I think they handled it the wrong way. But there were good moments in there. I would agree.
Could have had some potential to be like up there with at least John from H2O. Like, I don't mind John. I would definitely, obviously, say it'd be Jamie, John, and obviously Karen, and her own little category towards the bottom of the list. But like you said, man, she doesn't really do anything in here. Really, she's just kind of there to like be like, oh yeah, I had a terrible childhood. And to be that overbearing, overprotective mother, which I can say she does it right compared to what Laurie did. But that's just me. And the other character we could talk about a little bit is Ray. I mean, there's not really much to say about him. That's definitely to me a Danny McBride character there overall.
He was fine. I mean, he had his funny moments, and he had some moments that weren't as funny. And then again, he's there. He's cannon fodder. He's there to die. I knew that guy was going to die. As soon as I saw him on screen, I was like, yeah, he's going to die. And he did. And that's fine. I think in horror, that's one of the things that brings us comfort in a weird way, is things that we can somewhat predict in a movie that's supposed to scare us. I did not mind him in his presence. I'm curious what you guys thought about him, though. I know he was pretty awkwardly written, but what do you guys think?
As soon as peanut butter got dropped on or peanut butter got something dropped in a particular area, I was done with the character right then and there because I knew that was just a Dane McBride character, and I'm so glad he died. So that's all I gotta say about Lovely Ray. I feel like he was an unnecessary character.
He's like in the middle for me. I mean, like even though obviously they addressed it in the next film, but like the dude dies and like nobody even asks like, oh, dude. Hey, where's Ray? What happened to Ray? And then the next film, they're like, oh, Dad's dead, isn't he? Like, yeah. He's long dead. He's dead and burned alive. Like, damn. Poor guy. And I guess now I want to take some time and focus on Laurie, because I know this was kind of where a lot of the fans are a little bit more on the divided side, because a lot of people really like the direction they went, because it's a very like Sarah Connor, Ellen Ripley kind of direction. But there's also that side of the camp who's also thinks, she's a little over the top. She's a little overbearing at times with how much she's obsessed with Michael, with how it's been 40 years and he killed 3 people and she's that obsessed. So I want to start out with you guys, because I might go on a tad bit of a with this version of Laurie. But Brett, what do you think about this iteration of Laurie Strode?
Like I said earlier, I prefer this one over the H2O. I think this is like between those two, they are the most comparable of like, which way are we going to take the Laurie Strode character, the H2O way or the 2018 way? Again, like I said, the 2018 way to me is the better way and the more realistic way with how, especially with our time of living is. I understand the H2O side of like the era we were in then, how that's different, but I like the 2018 one. Plus, without this particular Laurie Strode, we wouldn't like had that trope. I call it a trope now, where you have the older older character like freaking Sally from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Chris from the Exorcist franchise. Let's bring back a famous character and make them old as dirt. It is all thanks to this Laurie Strode from 2018. She started that whole entire trend. Even though I feel like Laurie did it the best, though, just because because again, how are we supposed to know how we're going to act when someone tried to kill you on a Halloween night and all that several years ago? Like, would you still be messed up in the head? Like, everyone's different. Everyone handles like trauma in their own unique way. So I don't blame what Laurie did, because I feel like that's just the best way she knew how to deal with it. So I do like this Laurie from 2018, but for the other two Lauries for this trilogy, no.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. I have another mixed for me. I appreciate somewhat of the direction that they took, because it's a little bit closer to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 version of Laurie, where you can actually see her trauma as opposed to just her being a slightly overbearing mother. Like, there are mothers who've never had anything wrong with them that treat their children like she did in H20. She didn't. It's almost like she's just paranoid. But in this one, I like that she takes that extra step. Like, she's not just paranoid; she's still obsessed. She still thinks she still wants to protect herself. She has her good days where she can go and talk to people and be fine. She has her bad days. It's much more realistic. The only thing that bothered me is that one thing that I think we do not speak of what they did to Sally. It made
They did nothing with Sally.
Yeah, it made a lot less sense than this one. But I think my biggest problem is that Halloween is always trying to fill a hole. And that hole is what I call the Loomis hole. And I think they tried to do it with Laurie in this, and it just did not work. I can't buy this person as this trauma victim who's so paranoid and so obsessed with Michael Myers, but at the same time is saying things that Laurie wouldn't say. Why is Laurie talking about how the philosophy of an evil man, or why is she talking about his thought process and his darkest, blackest eyes and all this stuff? And she says a lot of lines in this movie that I would picture coming out of Loomis. And I think if you're gonna not bring in any Loomis character, if you're not gonna have anybody fill those shoes, don't try to fill the gap that's left there. I think you can fill it with things that are unrelated. You can fill it with things that are different, that are new, that are fresh. And I felt like they pushed too much of that onto this traumatized Laurie character that, like, what do you have at that point? You have a traumatized woman, but why is she saying all of these things? It doesn't work for me. So it's still mixed. They did a decent job, I think, overall.
More importantly, what does she do for a living to get all those guns in such a secluded area? And her light bill has to be off the charts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely there too. Like, I'm very mixed on this version. Like, personally for me, I like what they did more in H2O. Personally, to me, I think that one works a little bit better. And I would definitely agree still, the Scout Taylor Compton traumatized Laurie, like, that to me is like the best version we have gotten of a traumatized victim. And
yep.
Definitely a lot better than this one. To me, like I said, it's been 40 years and like nothing has happened. Like, I would say maybe the first to 5 to maybe like 10 years, I'd be more like, paranoid. But after that, I guess me personally, I would get over it. Weirdly enough, I was gonna try and make a video like ages ago of like how I would have wrote Halloween 2018. Like, I pictured Laurie owning, Strode Realty after her father passed away, and like her and Karen were running it. Maybe they like go into the Doyle house, they're trying to sell it, or even go into the Myers house. You get a couple of flashbacks here and there.
The Wallace house.
Yeah, or the Wallace house. Like, either or, like one of them. But just to me, I think, and like have a little bit of like she sees something and maybe she like starts seeing, like remembering what happened that night. Kind of still has like that trauma, but it's not like overbearing. And Connor, you nailed it on the head. Like, even with this one, and they especially tried in the next film, like, you can't give Loomis lines to people and it's not Dr. Loomis. It just, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about the personification of evil and stuff. Like, I don't want to hear Laurie Strode talk about that. I want Dr. Loomis, or I want, even if they would have done a little bit different with Sartain, if they would have talked about it like that with him a little bit more, it would have worked better. But you can't give Loomis lines to just anybody. Like, it's just, you can't. It's not going to work. I mean, it doesn't hit as hard as when Donald Pleasance was talking about Michael Myers back in the original film. And even in the other couple films he's in, you know, he still talks pretty well about it. He still does make Michael Myers scary in each one of those films, but you don't have the Loomis character. Like, Donald Pleasance is gone. I mean, they did technically kind of recast him in Kills, but what else can you do? Like, just, I don't know. That's always something that's bothered me the lot about this trilogy, is the fact they're trying to give Loomis lines to people and it just doesn't land as good.
You just don't need him. Like, you're at this point where if he's gone, you don't really need him. I think bringing him back in Kills the way that they did when we get there, I know we will eventually get to that, but I think that was a good way to just give a fans, like, you know, throw him a bone. Like, hey, here's Loomis for you. But you don't need to fill that. I don't think that hole needs to be filled. If you just give us a character that we can follow, like a Hawkins, right? Like, they give us Hawkins in this movie. Just give us another character to follow and to you know, drive the story along. We don't need people to talk prophetically about Michael Myers. Like, we don't need it.
No, especially with Hawkins, though, which I know we haven't talked about that character yet, but like, I was just thinking to myself here, like, who's the closest that kind of has the same aura as like a Dr. Loomis, but not as close, but kind of like maybe a fourth of Loomis? Is Hawkins, though, because he definitely wants to stop the evil from happening, like with Michael Myers at all costs. Like, even just freaking shoot him like as soon as he could, you know? So like, I would think Hawkins, and plus off Will Patton, though, playing Hawkins, excellent casting choice. With that, I'm always a fan of Will Patton and his work. And again, wish he had a lot more to do especially with ends, but how he was treated in this one and in Kills, I thought he did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, Hawkins is easily one of the better characters in this new trilogy of films.
I agree.
And especially this first film, like, this is the best he did. Like, I'm very convinced that this is another character who could have maybe have gone on and been like, not quite like a Sheriff Brackett, but maybe more like a Sheriff Meeker kind of character.
Yes.
I have the opinion I like Sheriff Meeker more than I like Sheriff Brackett.
Thank you.
I know that's obvious. Yeah, I love Meeker.
I mean, can we all just say, you know, Brad Dourif's the best version of Sheriff Brackett?
Yeah, you know, I like that they brought back the original Brackett, just to give us a little bit. Again, I like fan service when it's done right for me, and I like that they brought back the original Brackett. But I'm of the opinion that several characters are done better in Rob's movies than they are in the original group.
Annie Brackett.
Sorry.
Yeah, over time, man, like, that's probably really the only like problem I have with the original Halloween is Annie and Linda. Like, their acting is just not really up to par.
I'll say I do like Linda in the first one.
I do like Linda too.
I actually prefer, so I like Christina Klebe as Linda in Rob's movies, but I actually prefer Linda in the original. She just has this good kind of quality about her. But I mean, like, how can you dispute, like, it's Danielle Harris? Like, I don't, you could probably put her in any role in the franchise and she'd shine, man. It's difficult to not throw praise at her Annie, but luckily they didn't try to do anything in this movie to make us like Annie anymore, because she was kind of she's kind of an a-hole in the original movie, to say the least. So yeah, I'm glad they didn't try to do anything to redeem that in these three, because it's just like they left it alone, and I think that was the right thing to do. They did a lot of things in this that I think are very minimal, or things that they maybe didn't do that I would have expected, that I'm very glad they didn't go in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
There's really only one more actual character I kind of want to talk about. It's weird I'm going to word this, especially if you guys, obviously Connor, I know you are, but for you guys who aren't really Star Wars fans, I consider him the Captain Phasma of this this franchise. But I don't really remember what I think it's Sheriff Barker. I think's his name.
Titus
talking
O'Neil
about-
2.0.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. If you're a wrestling fan, this is like he looks like about 3 different wrestlers put together.
Dude, I even looked at it. I'm like, is that Titus O'Neil? How the hell did he get an acting gig? And then I looked up, I was like, oh god, that's not him.
You know what though? I'll throw something up here. Do you think if maybe we spent more time with that character, we would have a different appreciation for him? Because I don't think the actor does a bad job at all. I think he delivers his lines well. I think he fits the role of what I'd expect. I mean, obviously an Illinois cop with a cowboy hat's a little out there as somebody from that state. But I don't know. I want to ask you guys, like, do you think we'd have a different opinion about him overall if people would remember him more fondly if we were able to spend as much time with him as we did, like a Hawkins, say?
Yes.
Oh,
I would at least. I would like him a lot more. Again, I agree with you. Acting wise, he did not do a bad job at all. I thought the acting was pretty well done, but yeah, I'd say maybe a grand total in this entire trilogy, he has like 10 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, it's not much. Especially, I thought he would get a lot more in kills and ends, but he really didn't. He got less.
Yeah, and ends when he showed up at the end. I was like, oh, hey, yeah, that guy. Totally forgot about him.
Yeah, me too. Forgot about him.
Again, hence why I call him the Captain Phasma of this new trilogy.
That's such a good comparison.
But
I'd say if he was just written good, he would have been a lot more respected. I just feel like they just put no effort into his character at all. He's just there to be there. But I will say, if they would have made Hawkins the sheriff and then bracket the the second person to the sheriff, that could have worked a little bit better, in my opinion. But it is what it is, though. But me, Barker, definitely the worst sheriff in horror genre history.
History, oh boy.
Ooh, wow.
I give me those freaking goofy cops from Halloween 5 over Sheriff Barker.
Whoa, heavy. I am a Halloween 5 apologist and defender. And
I know. I listened to that episode, man. That was a good episode.
Thank you.
But here's my thing, though. What do you remember? The goofy cops from 5 or Barker? At the end of the day, what are you going to remember most? You can remember the goofy, like, wee, or you can remember the Barker of, you hear that? Nothing. Is that like, see, that was my argument based off that.
He's much less entertaining. I think he's a much better presence, but he's a much less entertaining presence. If
he had charisma behind him, he would have been a lot better. Like I'm telling you, if Titus O'Neil would have done that,
if you actually made it Titus O'Neil.
Yeah, no, seriously. If he just grabbed a random officer and go millions of dollars.
Good Lord.
I know.
Ashton, I have to agree with you here. Brett, you made me think of Halloween 5.
It's
5 is my least favorite.
I'm not trying to steal Connor's show here.
Oh, my heart!
Not that bad.
My heart. Hey, every time you say not that bad, I'll take it because that's free advertising for the show. So I'll take it.
There you go.
That was our first ever episode. So if anybody is out there listening and wants to hear two people who have no idea what they're doing talk about Halloween 5, you can find it on Spotify.
Sadly, though, I don't want to say it, but yeah, remember those two more than I do Barker. Kind of
Brett, you made a good point there. It's entertainment value.
Even the cat doesn't care about Sheriff Barker.
Yeah, you don't care at all, do you? You're just here. You talk about it. So there's really only two other things in regards to 2018 I really want to talk about. I already kind of brought it up earlier, but the biggest thing is Michael Myers. What do you guys think about the direction they went with Michael Myers in this film? Do you think was a good choice to add a little bit more brutality to the character, or do you think he should have been more still like how he was in the original film. We'll start with you.
Yeah.
Oh, am I said? Okay. I think this is the best interpretation of Michael Myers outside of the I think it's the best within this line of movies. This version of Michael Myers, technically, even the Thorn trilogy has still the same Michael Myers that's in the first movie. I would say this is the best of all of them. I really like, and this is a controversial opinion, and I know people are going to come at me for this, but I really like the Michael Myers from Halloween 2, the original one. I know many people think he's too robotic. Many people think he's too formulaic and stuff, and I can get that. But I love the look. I love the feel. I love that he's more brutal, and that it escalates. And in this, it just takes it to a completely different level. He's more brutal, but he's also more calculated with it. He moves with a sense of direction. He's not just you can see his gears turning as he's, especially the scene where he's walking through Haddonfield and he is going through the different houses taking people out. One long scene, they probably have a cut hidden in there, but it just is done so well, and you can see the thought process of this just freak of nature. I think this is the best version of that character that I've seen. James Jude Courtney, I will go on record as saying, I think is the best of the Michael Myers portrayers. So I will put him right next to Tyler Mane because I think they're just different enough that you can appreciate them for different reasons. But yeah, this is my favorite thing that they've done with Michael Myers is across these first two movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I again, right there with you. I feel like this is one of the best Myers, like in terms of a direction, coming back for a sequel. Because again, how long was he stuck for after the events of the first one? I'm trying to remember.
40 years.
I think it was 40 years.
40 years. 40 years. And he's just been picked up there for 40 years. So after being finally let go and released into the wild, he's got to figure out a way 40 years, I haven't killed somebody. Let's unleash it all. And plus, he's probably still pissed because, again, Laurie was the one that got away. And he's probably that still pisses him off if he can feel anything, too. But if there's one thing I could change, and I hopefully, again, this is why I'm kind of disappointed A24 didn't get Halloween. I want to go back more to the shape side of Michael Myers versus just Michael Myers being Michael Myers. And here's what I mean by that. Most of the Halloween movie from 78, where is Michael usually located? It's exactly in the shadows. And to me, that's his most scariest because you never know where he's going to be. He can be anywhere. In 2018, we kind of know where he is at all times, and he's just shown with the light and everything too. Which again, nothing wrong with that because they do make the most of it, and he is super brutal, especially when we get to that bathroom scene. Oh my gosh, even I got super uncomfortable in the theater of the brutality of that, which guess what? Job well done. But again, I wish we could just go back to basics with just the shape side of Michael, him being in the shadows with the dark lighting on him. So that'd be my one critique. I wish they would go back to in the featured installments of the movie. But for what they did with him in 2018, I thought it was brilliantly done, especially getting a new audience attached to it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man. And the one other thing I want to talk about, man, and I think I'm going to give the biggest positive out of all three of these films, that amazing score by John Carpenter.
And his son, Cody.
Yes.
And I think it's also his son-in-law.
I think.
Or something.
Yeah, I think I think that's how it was. I think it was his son and his son-in-law worked on it with him. I don't know for a fact that it was his son-in-law as the other one, but yes, it's kind of similar to. I think John Carpenter's scores in the Halloween franchise are at their best when he has a collaborator. Because Alan Howarth came in Halloween 2, and then he was there throughout the rest of it. But they collaborated in Halloween 3, which is one of. I mean, even people who hate that movie say it's one of the best scores. So, yeah.
Yeah, and plus the score too, again, goes with my idea of carrying the feature of the franchise along. What better way to carry the feature of the franchise with the score department than Cody Carpenter getting it passed down from John Carpenter? Wouldn't that be the dream to carry that franchise and then it gets handed to Cody? Which, guess what? Still might happen. But man, just talk about, again, carrying the franchise into a positive future.
So good.
Yes, I mean, the shape stocks Allison. Oh,
it's so good. God. Even the one, I don't know if it's called. Oh, it's the scene that I talked about earlier, where it's like the one shot on the streets of Haddonfield where he goes kind of house to house. That song is another one that is just so good, and the mix of that synthetic and and the piano, and so there's like some guitar thrown in there for like just to kind of mix it up. It's so solid up until I won't go too much more in depth because we do have 2 movies left in this, but up until like when this movie came out, it was my second favorite score of the entire franchise. Incredible.
It's called The Shape Returns.
The Shape Returns. That's right. The Shape Returns. Such a great song. I will legitimately, I am one of those people, call me weird if you must, but I'm one of those people who will listen to soundtracks in the car. So I have absolutely listened to several of those songs repeatedly. Yeah, I like what you have there.
I got my vinyl right over there too. So
it's incredible.
I have no idea what happened to my Halloween Kills one. I cannot find it anymore.
Oh no, that's the best one too. But
man.
But to throw 2 more things about the score real quick, because again, I know we got 2 more movies, but definitely the one with Allison. I will say, definitely the scene I would change the most, that would make the most impact in the entire trilogy. You know, when Allison was running in that dark alleyway, and you just see her running, how great would it have been if Michael just did a turn, if he was just walking right behind her as she was running? That would have been an iconic moment, along with that score playing, which be freaking phenomenal. But the most underrated track of that whole soundtrack is the one where Laurie's in the car waiting for Michael to come out of the asylum.
It's a really good one
buzz. Too. That one to me is the most underappreciated score in the entire movie.
That's a really good one too. I will agree with that 100%.
So overall, what would you guys give this out of 5? I will say I'm at a solid. I gotta
get that ready.
Yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I think I started at a 4.5, and revisiting it, because it was the first Halloween I saw in theaters, and I romanticized it very heavily. But after rewatching it again, I was like, no, I have more problems with this. It's definitely a solid 4.
Solid 4. I want to say it's a 4 too, but I'm double checking my list real quick. Yeah, I gave it a solid 4 out of 5, but in a way, if Letterboxd can't do it, it's like a 4.25 for me. Close enough to being really excellent, but again, with a couple of minor tweaks to it. But 4.25 to me is still a solid score for starting a new trilogy.
Yeah.
See, and again, man, it's just like The Force Awakens. It got a lot of positivity, and that's why I was so excited for the next couple of films. And now, obviously, it is now time to get into, well, I would say what's the most controversial one between all of them, but obviously that one's still going to be a little bit later.
Yeah.
But probably one of the more divisive ones. We, of course, now are talking about 2021's Halloween Kills. Man, if I can be totally honest with you, the hype for this film, I was so excited. And I remember walking into that theater in the first 20 to 30 minutes, man, I was on cloud 9. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This already is better than 2018. And then we got to the bar scene, and it just kind of started to go down and down. And then it would peak a little bit, and then it'd go back down. And it just basically did that for the rest of the film. But I don't think I've ever walked out of a theater so disappointed in a film in quite some time. That was so just devastating to me. walking out of that theater, and a lot of people were like, "Yeah, I really liked it," because I went with my wife and our two friends. We've gone to a lot of horror movies together, so I'm trying to get my friend Travis to get a little bit more into horror because he's one of the biggest chickens I've ever met in my entire life.
Hey, I used to be that chicken, so I know how he feels.
Fair enough. But
I'm still that chicken, honestly.
Depends on the film, man. The Babadook. No.
Honestly, it's the ghost movies for me, like Conjuring and Insidious. Those legitimately scare the hell out of me.
Because
my
they're
wife
the most
and I,
realistic.
Yeah, my wife and I, we went to go to a theater when Annabelle Creation came out, and we did it in a completely empty movie theater in the Atlanta area, and it scared the life out of me. Those movies get me so bad. The slashers I can watch all day. I'll never be scared. That and like movies like Sinister. The first time I watched that movie, it that score just kept playing in my head every time the room went dark. So
yeah, I'll even throw one for you too. The Strangers. That one really freaked me out too.
Okay,
that
because
movie
of how realistic.
Okay,
exactly.
The Strangers. Okay,
it's the ones that make you paranoid, and the possession ones. Those are the ones that get me the most.
Man, are you the same way with like ghosts, like found footage movies?
Oh, big time. Because it's the same thing. Because again, how real, especially with a found footage, of how almost in a way they kind of make it feel real, even though it's not really real. Which this would be a great time to say my favorite found footage flick of all time, Hell House LLC.
So
that
good.
movie absolutely freaked me out. Because I feel like I was legitimately right there watching everything happen unfold. And I'd praise that movie to death, even over movies of Paranormal Activity and The Blair Witch Project. But no, just real quickly, like those kind of movies scared the crap out of me the most.
Dude, you need to watch Gonjiam Haunted Asylum.
Love that one too, and that one I've never felt more anxiety in my life, especially does a single window. Well, actually, Carter, have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Highly suggest you watch it. So I'm not going to spoil what I was just about to do. So highly suggest it. It's on Tubi and Shudder, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. I'll throw an underappreciated one in my book. I don't know if it holds up. I watched it one time, so forgive me, everybody. But a couple of years ago, there was a movie on Netflix called Mockingbird. That was also a found footage movie. The cover has this like creepy looking clown on it, but the movie is completely different than that. People tend to not like it, but I mean, hey, I have a podcast called Not That Bad for a Reason. So yeah, check it out if you ever got some time. I'm sorry if it doesn't hold up.
Does it look like it's this it?
Yep, that's the one.
Okay, I'm putting it to my watch list.
Yeah, the director has some, I think, some good credits to his name. I think, didn't he do The Strangers? I think he did The Strangers.
He did. Yeah, one of his four. Oh, he did The Monster. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, so check it out if you haven't seen it. Some people hate it, but I have a good time. So check it out if you like found footage. I don't love found footage, and I still enjoyed it. So have fun, everybody.
I love found footage, man. It's one of my favorite subgenres of horror. So good. So
I respect it.
Like Grave Encounters. That one's just stupid fun. It's basically
Grave Encounters. Wreck is another one.
Wreck,
yeah, Wreck is a great one.
Even the original Paranormal Activity, I'd say that's the best one. After that, they get pretty dumb. Really fast. Really fast.
I checked out after the first one too, which some people did to this trilogy too. Some people watched this first one and then they just said, "I'm not going to watch it."
Hey, nice segue.
I'm good.
Yeah,
hey, that's what I do.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I've never walked out of a movie so disappointed, but definitely I've seen this film now like 6 times, and I do really like it now. Like there are still some pretty big problems with it for me, but they're not as like overbearing as they were when I first watched this. But I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts. You know, what was your guys' thoughts on Kills after you went and saw it for the first time? Brett.
Okay. First off, you say it was the most disappointing that you've walked out of. To me, it was the most confusing because I didn't know how to feel. Because when I first walked out, I was like, "Oh my god, that's so awesome!" And then just the more it just settled and everything just calmed down, I'm like, you know, they got me with all the kills to cover up all the horrible writing and storytelling this movie has to offer. So at the end of the day, it's a good, like, I'm like you, Austin. This movie has grown on me a little bit because I finally accepted it for what it is. It's called Halloween Kills. It's about Michael killing people in the most brutal ways. If you could just accept it for that, you're going to have such an amazing time with this movie. However, this is my big problem with it. If this is the second movie of your trilogy, and the most important thing you got to do with a second movie in the trilogy is to get from point B to C while making A still relevant. And it did not do that. And that's what really makes me mad. I don't think, well, they half-assed it in the third act, like, oh, let's kill off Karen, and then that's it. That's our connection from B to C. Really lazily done. I feel like at the end of it, it was not earned. So that really bothered me. But love all the kills. But when it comes to terms of the legacy characters and how to do it not correctly, Halloween Kills is your studying tape on that. Scream 5, that's how you handle legacy characters. I know a lot of people still have a problem with Dewey, but you know what? I thought he still did an amazing job. But at the end of the day, Halloween Kills, I'm starting to appreciate it more. Just I accept it for, if it was its own standalone movie, it would have been excellent in a way. But if it's the second movie of your trilogy, awful. So I'm just going to give this just a solid movie for me.
You know, I get that sentiment. First time I watched this, I was like, there's a lot of really good stuff in there, but man, I really don't know what they were doing with some of this. Second time I watched it, I did not like it. I lowered my rating. I was not a fan. After Halloween Ends came out, everything made sense to me. It was like all three of those movies just started to make sense to me once I started to get Halloween Ends and what it was doing. I got every other movie in this trilogy. What I really like about Halloween Kills and what's really unique about it is that the first Halloween movie in 1978, and I'll finish this thought completely once we get to Ends, but I'm going to start it here. In Halloween 1978, the idea was evil at any time could be lurking around any corner. It could have any face. It could have any name. This is the evil that we're telling the story. Yeah, any shape. This is the evil that we're telling the story about here. And when he's gone at the end, in the immortal words of Captain Spaulding, maybe he lives next door to you. You don't know. He could be anywhere now. And what I like about Kills is that we still get great Michael Myers moments. We get some of the best kills in the entire franchise. We get some of the best Michael Myers moments of the franchise. We get a lot of good Easter eggs, some cool characters coming back, some wasted characters coming back. But the biggest thing that we get in my mind is the first instance of that transference of evil. The town turns themselves into villains, trying to kill the thing that they feel is the main source of evil in their world. They, in a way, are directly responsible for an innocent man's death because of their drive to take what they think is evil. They become one of the villains in the movie. And I love that they started that, because in the first movie, it was very much Michael's the evil. We have this little side evil here with Sartain, but it's because of Michael. He is the source. And then we get that branched out now to the town. The entire town is so taken by the events of 2018's movie that they jump in and they say, we're not going to let this happen. We're taking this into our own hands. And in that, they become the evil that they're fighting against. So I love that they have that. That being said, I think this movie has the worst ending of any film in the franchise, not including the producer's cut of Halloween 6. I was so disappointed with how this movie ended because it felt like you wasted all of these characters, especially Karen. Karen's main source should have been to be a moment of heartache for the audience and for the characters that love this person. Only thing you've done with her is set up her to die and for it to be emotional, and you kill her with no immediate consequences, no immediate recourse, no immediate reaction. It just felt like a waste. And so, yes, I think it is a great movie with a terrible ending. So it's fine.
And also How to Ruin a Future Final Girl, too, to set up in the future with Allison. But we'll get to her. I'm assuming we're going to get to her in a minute.
Yeah. Well, I will say the theatrical cut ending, yeah, that one's no. The end, well, I guess to a degree, the extended cut, the measly like couple extra minutes they add for the extended cut of kills, I think that ending is better. But
I haven't seen that personally. I've only seen.
You haven't?
No, I've only seen because when I watched it for the second time, I didn't like it, but when I realized what the movie was and I rewatched it again, I wanted to get that same experience again. So if I'm giving the movie another chance, I don't want another reason for it to change just because of
That's
anything.
really smart.
Well, I did the same thing with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 when I watched it again. I almost broke the disc in half the first time because I hated it so much, and then I couldn't just go and watch the theatrical cut that everybody told me was way better in their mind, and I didn't do it. And I wanted to do the same thing here. Same movie, same experience. How am I going to take it this time? So still haven't seen that one, but I've heard the same thing.
I am somebody who thinks the theatrical cut of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is better. That's just
so most people do. I think I'm a director's cut man, pretty heavily director's cut man personally, but I definitely get it.
If we could combine both of those cuts, we would be living in a perfect world.
Somebody actually did, and it's actually on YouTube.
But
Cool.
I need to burn that into a disc and then just make that my Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
There you go.
Oh man.
So, man, some of the direction choices they made in this film, man, I don't understand. I will say though, the way they started off though with that flashback, that is one of the single best moments of this entire trilogy. Personally, I think they should have done this flashback at the beginning of 2018. Personally, that's what I think they should have done. But for this film and what they were going for, whatever little bit of story we actually had in Halloween Kills, I mean, it makes more sense it's in this film, but to me, that's where I would have rather have put it. But that flashback, man, that literally felt like John Carpenter was back behind the camera. Like, I literally felt like that whole flashback sequence was filmed by John Carpenter, not David Gordon Green.
Plus, the attention to detail they did with that flashback is so incredible. They got everything with the Myers house spot on, with the clothing spot on. Like, didn't they not just have to rebuild that house just to do the flashback scene? Like, if you put that much dedication, you're going to have the successful scene.
Yeah, I mean, even the color grading they got right.
It was
just crazy.
Let's just say, if you are a The Boys fan, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything down to the last minute detail. It was perfect.
Yeah, I will agree.
Yeah. But like I said, man, after that, I like that the sequence that Connor, you were talking about earlier with the firefighters. Like,
what a sequence.
Oh, man. Because that
some
was
of the best Myers stuff we've ever gotten, right?
Yes.
Cinematography wise, too.
Oh, it's very well done.
To me, this is straight up. It's weird because, like, I don't have this as my favorite sequel, but like every time I talk about it, the way I talk about it, I sit here and I'm like, God, this should just be my favorite sequel because this has like my favorite Michael Myers stuff like ever. Like,
I agree with that. Yeah,
the mask. This is my favorite mask of the entire franchise because to me, it fits that personification of evil. Yep, that's the one there.
So is that your favorite mask as well, Brett, of the whole franchise?
It's one of my favorites. This is a rehaul version that a fellow YouTuber of mine did for me.
Oh, cool.
Just wanted to give him credit. His name is James Grimm. So thank you, James, for doing that. But definitely one of my favorites. But my favorite, actually, I'll go get it real quick. It's right over here. I just recently bought it too.
Oh, I bet you it's the H2 mask. That's
going to be the next one I buy. But the Rob Zombie weathered down mask for the second half of the movie. This is my all-time favorite mask.
Oh, okay, solid choice.
I'll take it.
Trick or Treat Studios, great job making this mask. I highly suggest you all buy this.
Yeah, nice,
dude. Yeah, Trick or Treat Studios, man. Every mask I've seen so far, like physically seen, they've been just great. Even because I see Brett, I see you got the the Halloween 3 masks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Those are their best, in my opinion. That's their best work.
Yeah, I only have the witch and the pumpkin. I wasn't able to find the skeleton yet.
don't
Go
have
on
any of them.
Amazon. That's where I found all three of them. Was on Amazon, and I got the skull one. You don't see him very well, but I got that signed by Tom Atkins.
Oh,
in August.
nice.
So he does not get touched anymore.
Reasonably so.
Yes, you should get that in a glass case too.
Yeah, very much so.
If
yeah.
I had room, I would.
Yeah, trust me, I feel you back there.
I have no masks except for a Jason. I have a Jason mask that's signed, but I don't have any other masks. So that's always been a goal of mine is just to get. I want those Halloween 3 masks, and I want. There's a couple Myers masks I'd probably want, but
the Myers masks go Trick or Treat Studios, but the three Season of the Witch ones, I got them on Amazon Prime for $60 each.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And they're the Trick or Treat studio ones too, so they're like the really good ones.
That's a bargain. That's a good purchase.
Yes, sir.
I kept telling myself I want to own all the masks that Trick or Treat Studios made, but I'm gonna pass on Halloween 5.
I think that's
Nicolas
the one
Cage.
mask. Honestly, though, I think that's the one mask they didn't do very well. Like, it didn't look enough like the Halloween 5 mask that I would expect. I've seen a lot of people who made it themselves who did really, really well with it. I am actually a fan of the Halloween 5 mask, so I would like one of those, but not the Trick or Treat Studios one. It really does look like they just made a mold of Nick Cage's face for it.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I like everything else they've done. I think they did a good job for everything else, but there's actually not many masks in the franchise I hate, so I would want almost all of them. But
see, I like the Halloween 4 mask. Like, everybody hates
I do too.
one.
I used to hate it too.
It's growing on me.
I like it, man. It fits the movie, so I can't picture any other mask in that movie.
Right.
Obviously the pink one that shows up, it's not ideal, but I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot, actually.
I will say I like half of the Rob Zombie Halloween 2 mask until the eye gets torn off. Then it takes me out a little bit.
I actually really like it after that. I won't get into why I could gush about that movie.
Oh, are we talking about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, the second half of the movie?
Yeah.
Love that look too.
I could gush about that movie for hours, so I won't do it too much. I'll say the Halloween Kills mask is up there for me. I haven't made a ranking in a long time of masks, so I'll always know a favorite, but everything else just kind of blends.
Yeah. Connor, when me and Brad do the watch series for Halloween, we'll bring you on for Rob Zombie's Halloween too. We'll have your moment to shine because we need the best people in order to defend that movie.
I'm happy to be there. I will defend my co-host as well. We went on Flopbuster show when they did my favorite horror movie. It is my favorite horror movie of all time and one of my favorite movies of all time. So I will happily defend wherever I can.
Then you're in.
Beautiful. Yeah, like I said, this is my favorite mask of like the entire franchise. Like I said, it just fits what Michael Myers is because like it just adds more to that like he's angry, evil look that he has. Like, this is the film that solidified James Jude Courtney as my favorite Michael Myers because this to me is just it's the best Myers. You get a good blend. Obviously, you get a lot more of a vicious Michael Myers than this one, like we get in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 compared to what we got in 2018. But Michael Myers, man, I could gush about him in this film for hours.
He was perfect.
I love what they do with him.
I completely agree.
I would love to interview James Jude Courtney and really like figure out like how he went about like becoming Michael Myers, how he got the stature and how he actually does all the things he does to basically be Nick Castle's version, but to give his own flavor to the character too. So
yeah, and it's tough. It's got to be tough.
Yeah, when I met James Jude Courtney, I said, "Hey, what's going to be Halloween Kills? How's that going to be?" He goes, "It's going to be awesome." I'm like, great. I know you're supposed to say that, but great. Which, dude, if you ever do get a chance to meet him, Austin, or talk to him, he is an awesome guy to talk to. One of my top 3 male horror convention icons to ever talk to.
Oh, awesome.
Number 1 being Derek Mears, because that one took me way by surprise.
I heard he was really
because
nice.
dude, I thought he was scary looking. Like, oh man, he's just gonna be like, "Brr, brr, brr." And then as soon as I got up to this table, he went, "Dude, what's going on? How are you doing?" And he talked to me for like 10 minutes. It was
wow,
incredible.
Damn.
Sorry, got off topic. I always love to talk about Derek Mears when I can too.
I'd like to see him as Michael Myers.
Dude,
he did a good job as Jason. I think I liked his Jason. He's actually might be my favorite.
Nice.
He's up there. But James Hugh Courtney, like we said, he's up there for the best Michael too. I mean, like the guy just knows what to do behind that mask. It's why he's my favorite of this version of Michael Myers. And it's obviously like there hasn't been another portrayal other than like, you know, like a different version other than Rob Zombie's version of the character yet. Unless Malika Cod calls me back. But in all seriousness, like it's really cool that he can feel familiar enough, but it's like as a big fan of Law and Order SVU, you know, they always talk about escalating. These criminals will escalate in their violence and in their tendencies, and this feels like a natural escalation for a guy who was cooped up for 40 years, who had already, like, technically in the second film, which I know is not canon in this timeline, but he had already started escalating that night. So it's kind of cool to see, like, 40 years later, pent up rage and anger, like he's still that force, and now he is badder than ever in this movie.
And I feel so sorry for the next Michael Myers that has to follow up James Hugh Courtney.
Yeah, it's gonna be one hell of a contest there.
Yep. Good luck.
Yeah,
I will say, if they do anybody, I want them to do Aaron Armstrong, the guy who played him in the flashback.
That's fair.
I feel like he would be, obviously with what he did, I felt like that was, you know, the Nick Castle version of Michael Myers.
If it was A24, I would be so behind that, because I know A24 would get behind the whole shape side of Michael, but if Miramax is doing it, then they'll have to do someone kind of like a James Hugh Courtney that like is from a physique point of view. But it all depends, man. But regardless, I'm looking forward to it, and I agree, James Hugh Courtney, he's my number 2 Michael. I'm still a Nick Castle fan.
I get it.
That's fair. Those are usually the two I always see towards the top anyway, but most everybody goes to Nick Castle.
Tyler Maine's number 3, but
yeah, I think he's number 3 or number 4 for me. It's between him and George P. Wilbur. I'd bounce between.
Good one.
No love for Don Shanks, guys. Come on.
Shanks stank.
Oh no. That's okay. I'll be the lone Halloween 5 guy here. I'm fine with that. That's okay. I get it. No.
And unfortunately, man, I feel the same with Dick Warlock. I'm just
I love Dick Warlock.
Oh, hey, you leave Dick Warlock alone. He's already got hard enough time with his name.
Fair enough.
I was like, come on, I said, so when it hit the light bulb,
Man. Yeah, it is. I feel like C-3PO is behind that mask when I watch that film.
Oh,
damn you!
You're breaking my heart.
The damn mask.
Which sucks, because I will willingly say, for probably like a good year, maybe even 2, like that was my favorite Halloween film, like forever. Even I will willingly say Resurrection was my favorite for about a year as well. But we're besides the point there.
You need to quit talking to Chaz Sumner. I swear, man.
We covered it too. I'm a defender. I'm a defender, so
damn it! I'm gonna have to talk to Chad again to tell him to quit spraying his influence, spraying his form of evil.
Evil dies tonight. Oh yeah.
Oh God, no! Let's not talk about that. I thought we were going to skip it.
So we got Nick from the movie ranker. So we got
what's up, Nick?
So Halloween 2018 is a 7.5 out of 10. Halloween Kills is a 6 out of 10, and Halloween Ends is a 4 out of 10.
I agree with Nick, but my end score is a lot lower than that.
Thanks for dropping your ratings down there. I like to see what people rate other movies, so I'm glad that we're incorporating that into our conversation.
Yes,
I'm a big ratings guy, so
yeah, it's a force of habit, man. When I do the Talkalorian, we always like to give our score of like each of the new episodes and stuff. So
I am down with that.
So I think I might just make that a regular thing on here, depending on whatever movie I'm talking about.
Do it.
Hell yeah.
So
Or sorry, it's a Star Wars channel. Do it.
Do it.
I appreciate that. That makes me happy to hear that.
Oh, jeez.
And again, man, biggest positive for me, the score. This film here, this is my favorite score out of the entire franchise.
Ooh.
Same.
Okay. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I do actually prefer one in one of these other two movies over it, but I think my favorite is probably actually Rob Zombie's. I actually really like that score a lot. His second one, not the 1st one.
It's
That's
a
a banger.
unique one.
Yeah, what I think I like about it is that it's different. Like you don't hear the same beats that you hear in the other movies. Truthfully, I like Halloween 2's score a lot, the original one. I really like Halloween 4's. Halloween 5's is okay. I think Resurrection's Halloween theme was really good. But like 2, 4, 6, like give me any of those and I'll be happy. But Rob Zombies is so different that I really like it. But these movies, like they take it to a whole different level. I think they're the best of those main Halloween movies.
And again, good luck Miramax, unless if you bring back Cody Carpenter. So
it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, no, man. To me, this is the best work. Like these 3 films in a row. To me, this is the best work John Carpenter has done, like ever for me. Like,
Ooh,
even better than the original. Even better than like other films of his I've watched. Like I almost said Carrie, but Christine. I think that's a really good score. The Fog.
Fog's got a really good score. Uh-oh.
I'm waiting.
Prince of Darkness has a pretty good score.
Pretty sure John Carpenter's The Thing with that theme.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, sorry. Because that to me, I hate to say this, I'm going to be the minority here. I think that's better than the original Halloween from 78.
I would say personally, I do think that's John Carpenter's best film. I will
It's
say
so
that.
good, especially hearing that in the theater for its 40th anniversary. Thing of beauty.
Man, yeah, no, like I said, this best work John Carpenter has done. I would say, I don't know. I bounce back and forth. I'd say probably 2018 would be next, and then Halloween ends, and then it'd be the original Halloween after that. But I will give some love to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 once again. It's just kind of been a thing here lately because, again, I'm just a big fan of it now. But that new version of Love Hurts, like that, I love that.
Ooh, yeah, I have that on my phone as well. Fantastic.
Yes, I had to incorporate that when I did my review series last year because I had my buddy Ethan pretend to be whoever I was. Daniel Loomis, I think that's who I had him as. There's a part where it's Lori in her room, like where she's at the end of the film. He's sitting there talking to her, and she starts smiling. I incorporated that song in there, so.
Yeah, and on that note, I don't want to sidetrack too much, but that artist, her name is Nan Vernon. She also did a version of Mr. Sandman for the first Rob Zombie Halloween film, which is also very good.
It's the same person.
Yes, same person who did both of those. Both are very solid, but I do think the Love Hurts one is just that much better. It's so impactful.
It hits so hard, dude.
It's why I like the director's cut ending so much. It's part of it. You know, it's just so good. I love it.
All right. I'm trying to get his name too because that same composer also was in Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Yeah, so the composer for the score for Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 was Tyler Bates.
Yeah, Tyler Bates. I was like, I'm gonna beat him.
Tyler Bates was who did that, and then Nan Vernon did those 2 versions, and then I'm surprised Rob didn't do anything for those movies, but
no kidding.
Those are solid. And then, like you said, these movies you could really pick any of them for the score, and you wouldn't be surprising me. I think they're all really well done. This one included. It's hard not to make it a pro.
What, Rampage, Payback, and what's the other third one? There was like the holy trinity of that album. It's I know Payback, Rampage. I just always forget the third one.
Can't recall.
Yeah, I can't think.
I'm gonna find out.
I would say H2O has probably got the weakest score though, personally.
I think it does for Halloween movies. I think, Victoria from Flopbuster brought that to our show and that movie. And when we talked about the score, I do think as a Halloween film, it's not a good score, but I think like it's very theatrical and orchestral. It fits very well in like a Scream movie, and it does hit well, but it doesn't work for the franchise for me. I get it.
Yeah.
If anybody loves me for Christmas, if they could buy me the Halloween Kills final, I would. I'm already ashamed I don't have it. I just now realized it.
Do you at least have the other two?
No, I refuse to own Ends, but I do have 2018. I'm telling you, when we get to Ends, it's going to be the end of it. I'm going to end it.
Oh boy.
Okay. Well, we will be there in just a little bit, man. So
yeah.
So obviously, get back on track here a little bit. For me, one of the biggest problems is like it's one of my two really huge problems that drops my score quite a bit. But the legacy characters, they definitely advertised that like they were going to be like the centerpiece of this film, and to me, besides Lindsay, I think she was the one who probably delivered the best performance and was utilized the best in the little bit of screen time we got with her. The rest of them I thought were kind of wasted, garbage, however you want to word it personally. Marion Crane. Or not Marion Crane. Is that her name?
No, Marion.
No, Marion Chambers. Wow,
Marion Chambers. Yeah.
I'm on Psycho there. Wow, that's there. Holy hell!
Unkillable's the third one.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, to me, she was tied for the worst. I would personally still say I think this is the worst version of Tommy Doyle we've got in the franchise. Personally,
talk about rants. I'm getting ready to go on one when you get to me.
Yes.
On that one.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's kick off with Miss Chambers though, because I don't know. To me, her lines were just god awful. Especially
this is for Dr. Loomis. Damn it. That was again Danny McBride work right there.
She when she came up, man, when they were doing after the whole TV came on and they were looking around, puts the money in and grabs a whole huckleberry there, and love lives forever, and then of course, but evil dies tonight. I'm like, no, that's what you say. Really?
She did start it, didn't she?
She did.
That bitch. I'm glad she got what she deserved.
She's the evil that spread that crap around, man. I will get into that phrase because god damn it. Why was she in this? Can anybody answer that for me?
Fan
service. Trying to hide the bad story he was telling. They were going to give you kills and fan service. Maybe if we can offer this, we'll hide the story, and they won't figure out that this movie is supposed to be important, the most important out of the trilogy, and we've screwed it up.
It felt like they were trying to just make everybody happy. I think they knew they were going to do something different enough with the movie that fans could potentially turn on it. I do believe that they had a direction. I know a lot of people say that once they got to Ends, it felt like there was no direction and that movie was just a response. But I don't think that. What I do think is that when you bring those characters in, you either have to make them do just little enough that it feels like a cameo, or just enough to feel important. And I don't know that they did that.
Sorry, can I add on that before I lose this thought? Because it's why I praise Scream 5. It's called, like what you're saying, that I have a term for it in particular. It's called passing the torch. That's what legacy characters are supposed to do, is give that torch. Just do enough, but you're supposed to use those legacy characters to make your newer characters shine. I feel like the legacy characters did more than the newer characters. So they said, pretty much was telling me as an audience viewer, hey, these new characters, you're not supposed to give a crap about them. You're supposed to care about these old people that we're about to kill off. So at the end of the movie, you got nobody to care about.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't accomplish anything. I mean, and I'll, speaking on her specifically, I didn't really have a massive problem with her, I guess, but I just, like, why not just have her come back and die, and then everybody be like, what the hell happened there? Like, she's not, I know she's somewhat important in the Halloween lore and stuff, but it's not like she is Loomis, you don't have to treat her like royalty. The actress, sure, give her a fat payday for this. I believe in that. But I mean, either make her do nothing or make her do everything, make her mean something other than just coining the phrase that becomes like the tagline of the movie. That's not an important role in the film and its story.
Right.
They could have done something with her similar to what they did in H2O. Like, I like that version. That's my favorite version of Marion, personally.
This is what I feel like they should do with the legacy characters is give backstory, like, to the flashback, or for what informing our newer characters of their experiences, what happened on that night in 78. Like, Chambers could have been working at the Haddonfield Hospital, because that could be Finn, because she's a doctor in some ways. Or a nurse in some ways. So she could be there, like, trying to help, like, with the impact of what the current night is happening. And then they could have gone story like, hey, you had an experience with the shape before? Yeah. And then she gives her intake again to develop how serious they need to treat the Myers character while also not killing her. She could have just done that one little scene. Same thing with Sheriff Brackett. He could have gave his experience of everything that happened. And you could have done one quick scene between Sheriff Brackett checking on Lori, because again, responsibility and that connection they had between Annie, that's that connection between the two. Like, see, again, they could have done that kind of stuff with the legacy characters, but what they did with them is a total disgrace.
Yeah, they were just wasted. And speaking of Sheriff Brackett, man, like, he has one of the cringiest lines too in the whole film. Like, when they get towards the end, basically,
it's Halloween, Michael. Everybody's entitled to one good scare.
No, I just nope.
But here's Michael. Here's just saying, they're like, who the hell are you? Like, do you expect me out of 40 years to remember who you are? Like, damn.
Yeah, no, that was another character. I was like, it's cool to see him. And to kind of talk about what Connor talked about earlier, how the whole evil spreading and the mob mentality and all that, like, he even literally says it too. He's like, look at what he's done to us. We're becoming monsters now. Like, that's the best line he delivers in the whole film. And it really, like,
it's one of my favorite lines in the movie. Is that
point.
One? He makes it known that, like, he I know it's show don't tell, I get that, but it was kind of cool to have a character acknowledge, like, what are we doing? Like, we're just as bad as him right now. What are we doing? It's kind of cool to see that. Also, I'm sorry, I'll be right back. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, he's a goner. He broke the rule. You're never supposed to say you be right back, because you'll never be back.
Yeah, that ghost face behind you is going to come to life. Yes.
But,
yeah, no, man, Sheriff Brackett, that was...
Again, if they could have been used to give backstory on Michael, that would have been the best way to use him. And his impact of what happened that night when the shape got his daughter, Annie. Like, again, that would have been the best use of him. But how they used him, absolutely terrible. And I agree with, I forgot which one of you said it, but Lindsay, she was the best. Even though she wasn't that great either, she was definitely used the best.
Yeah, she's got one of the best sequences in that film too. Where
Damn right, I agree. Cinematography wise, absolutely.
Yes, man, the way they shoot Michael in that whole scene too, like,
good.
That shot reminds me a lot of what I think is the best scene in the original Halloween, because a lot of people like the scene where he like slowly comes out of the darkness. For me, it's when Tommy looks outside and Michael's just standing there in front of Lindsay's house, and then you just see nothing but his shadow. To me, that is the personification of Michael Myers. Like, that is pure evil. Like, the shape. Like, you do not know what he is, who he is, or what he's going to do. And I kind of felt that way during this little, what I guess you'd call it, chase sequence. You know, like the way that they just shoot Michael, and even when he gets on the bridge and all you really see is like the mask and like the knife that he's got. Just
perfectly done.
Like,
but
best shot sequence besides the flashback.
Yeah, well, and another one too. What in '78 is my favorite shot in horror movie history. It's when Laurie's behind the door after discovering her friends, and then you see Michael coming out of the shadows right there. Greatest shot in the history of filmmaking, in my opinion.
Wow, that's high praise,
dude. Because again, I don't know. Because again, it was from the '70s. How the world are you supposed to film that? Like, if you try it today with today's technology, they couldn't do it. Simple is better. Simple is better, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know, I want to throw, if I could throw that out there, like, and Brett said his favorite of the, and obviously if it's your favorite of film history, then it's probably your favorite in the franchise. But
easily.
But like, Austin, do you have one that like of a shot in the franchise that you think is just the best, the most well done shot?
Yes, I was actually just talking about that before you came up. It's when Tommy looks out the window and you just see the silhouette of Michael.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In front of the house. Like, that to me is just the shape, evil, darkness, everything that is Michael Myers. That is what terrifies me, is you don't really know what he is or who he is or why he does what he does.
Yeah, it's a great shot. I'll throw an entry, a quick one in there. Original Halloween 2, after the nurse discovers that the doctor's got the thing sticking out of his eye, he kind of fades. His mask kind of fades from the darkness behind her.
Yeah, like the remake of my favorite.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But I think, actually, I would argue that the one in Halloween 2, I actually thought it was done better.
Okay, personally. I respect that. But, it's still a great scene.
Oh, no, but I mean, both of them could be on par. I don't see how, like, I would never fault anybody for picking any of those, because they all speak to who this character is.
Plus, it's your own opinion. I don't want everybody to have the same opinion.
The world would be a very boring place if we did.
Damn right.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, probably horror history. That's my favorite shot, I guess you could say. As far as, like, overall, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'd have to really sit down and think about
it's a tough one. There's a lot of good ones. So,
really
but this movie, I heard you talking about this movie and the shots that we have in this too. Like, you know, really solid. Even like you talked about the one in the fire earlier, and I think that's probably my favorite personally in the movie. But there's no shortage of them. It's a very well shot movie. That all three of them, truthfully, are very well shot.
And that's credit to Blumhouse, too, at the end of the day, if we're just being honest with that.
I mean, people like to shit on Blumhouse, but I mean, and I get it. Like, they're commercialized a little bit, but like, their movies look
especially
great.
with Halloween Kills right here. This was the beginning of them just oversharing on trailers and not being truthful with their trailer either.
Yes. And now, Connor, we'll get to your favorite character in the whole film. And I really want you to start. So let's talk about good old Anthony Michael Hall. It's kind of sad, too, if I say he's the worst version and I like the Paul Rudd version more.
Breakfast Club.
Oh, my God. All right. I'm going to try not to get too angry here. This is one of the
let it go
worst miscasting examples that I've ever seen. It's the most egregious in my mind. This guy is so hateable. He's got the face of an a-hole. And I'm trying to be PG on this channel. You know, I don't want to take it too far. You know what? But you know, I'll say, in the interest of bringing the Not That Bad fans something who have come to watch, he's got the face of a total fucking douche. He is the worst choice for this character. This is a guy that I get they wanted to do this whole like, oh yeah, he's flawed now and he's been damaged by this too, and they didn't want to go the route of him being a weirdo like Paul Rudd. I get it. You don't want to make him a perv that watches women change. Cool. Why would you get this guy to play this character? It doesn't make sense. I don't think he is a bad actor, but I think putting him in a role like this is so not him. So when he's reading the lines, it doesn't work. It makes him look like a bad actor. I don't think anything about him works in this. I don't think anything about his character's progression. And I don't even know if you want to call it a story that the character has in the movie. I don't think any of it works. And it does not help that it was poorly conceived and written, especially that scene in the bar where we first meet him. It is not good. And it is my biggest issue outside of the ending for this movie. In fact, I would argue that it does more against this movie than the end does. I would rather it have a terrible ending than have to deal with Anthony Michael Hall for 2 hours. That's just me.
No.
I could get more angry and I don't want to. I'm going to keep it
Oh,
where
man, I really wanted you to.
No, I'm going to keep it where I am.
Dude, you were cooking right there. Because I absolutely, God, I'm sounding like one of those like newer kids. But no, I absolutely agree everything you just said right there. I like Anthony Michael Hall as an actor, but in this one, I was like, gosh, for a fact this was not his doing or his fault. He tried everything he could to make the character work. It's just, again, it's that writing room, man. With having like those 5 writers in one room, I don't understand how you make a movie with 5 writers in the first place. I just don't think that's possible. I would say 2 at max, in my opinion. It's just the magic number right there. But especially what you say at the bar scene, because after the trailers, he was given as supposed to be a mean, tough character who dealt with a lot of crap and all that, and then he was waiting on this night to get revenge. I mean, he's like the happy good fellow and all that. It's like, oh, we should remember these people. Like, I'll be your Huckleberry and all that. So it's just, I'm with you, Connor. It infuriates me. And plus, how stupid can you get? You know what Michael looks like back in 78. Do you really feel like he would be a 300-pound big belly guy if that looks like the pink one? Like, how? Okay, see, now I'm about to get mad, so I'm going to stop.
Dude, yeah, I would honestly almost say that he does more damage than Michael does in this whole film.
He does the same. I would say he does the same amount of damage that Michael Myers does as a character to other characters in the movie. This character does to the movie.
Needless to say, man, at the end, like when he dies, I was actually happy to see how he died. And his death, you still don't see it, but in the extended cut, his death is a little more brutal.
Yeah, I was gonna say they didn't make it mean much. I mean, they try to make you care about him this whole time, and then they don't. Like, his death is just like half a second, right? Like, it doesn't. It's barely there.
Nothing.
There's a voiceover going on.
Yeah, it's just a stab. They look each other in the eye, and that's it. It's like, wow. That was the most anticlimactic death of like this whole film. Like, good lord! After
getting shot, getting beaten, getting hit with someone ironing his clothes during that fight, I don't even know. Like, over anticlimactic. It's just that it could have meant much more too if we gave a damn about the character.
And that's the problem. We didn't give 2 shits about this character at all.
I don't know how anybody could.
A lot of people say this is the best version of this character. I'm like, nah.
I don't. No. Give me Tommy being weird. Give me Halloween 6.
Give me Paul Stephen Rudd. Give me the creep who's looking in on a ginger girl changing her clothes over Anthony Michael Hall every day of the week.
Easy.
Oh my God.
Give me the Tommy from Rob Zombie's Halloween. Than over Anthony Michael Hall.
Any of them. I actually didn't hate the Tommy from Rob Zombie's Halloween. I would have rather them brought that young guy back and tried to convince the audience that he's old enough to have been alive in 1978. I would have rather seen that.
I feel like they could have pulled it off.
Oh my God. I don't. Nope. Nope.
No, just nope.
That is your response. Off. Fuck off.
It's just like, how could you even say that? Like, okay, Paul Rudd is not it. Okay, I get that. It's laughable in some scenes, like when he's walking out of the hospital and he's holding the baby and he's like, he turns back and stares at Dr. Loomis. It's laughably terrible, but he's he's at least he means something. Like at least he, when he reads some of his lines, you're like, okay, yeah, the traumatized dude could sound like this, I guess, and you know, and he's at least got a purpose in the story, and he at least doesn't say some of the worst things you ever heard. He's bad because his character was written poorly, but this version of the character is beyond being written poorly. It's everything about it is wrong.
Obviously, you know, the biggest problem with this film, and I guess I don't know if it's for you guys. I mean, Connor, I obviously understand why, you know, what yours is, obviously, but the whole "evil dies tonight" chant. Oh,
damn you, Marion Chambers!
I still to this day when I hear that, and the farther and farther the film goes, if it was subtly done, if it was only like a couple of times here and there, cool. But when you have it with Marion saying it, and then you have Tommy saying it, and then you have a couple of random people in the hospital saying it, and then of course the whole mob mentality thing where they're all outside doing the chant, and then the Danny DeVito basically kills himself because there's no other way to escape it. But
his umbrella didn't work.
His umbrella.
Oh God!
I just, why was that the choice for this film? Why is that? It's sad because that is the punchline and pretty much the whole tag for this film, and I have never hated anything so much in my life. Like
bad writing.
Yes, the writing, dialogue, but this is what hurts this film the most for me.
And a good rule for a drinking game.
Huh. Well, you'll be dead if you drink. Honestly, though, like I have to say, I can't believe I'm going to be the one defending this here. I'm not going to defend it as much as people would for something they really enjoy. What I like about it is this. It's one of those things that rings true throughout real history in our world. If you give somebody something that's catchy enough that they believe in, something that's just enough for them to go, I'm with that. It goes a long way to have people use that as justification to do terrible things, which they do in this movie. My issue with it, to me, isn't even the chant itself. It's the rest of the writing in the movie. I think if we would have gotten good dialogue throughout the movie, I would argue this is one of the worst written Halloween films as far as dialogue goes. If we would have gotten good dialogue around it, I think it would have been much more impactful because we've seen it in history. I mean, the Nazis had their things that they said, and throughout history, every radical group has had their chants or their mantras or whatever it is. So I like that these people who were well-intentioned starting out, who wanted to do the right thing, ended up becoming monsters because of this whole goal, and they were pushed so far, and all the while they think they're doing the right thing. And how do you know that? Because they're quite literally chanting "Evil dies tonight." That said, though, I think because everything else around it was so bad, it makes it a lot less easy to swallow when you're given I'll say average thing for them to say. There could have probably been something better they could have come up with. But they didn't do much around it. You know, you don't have, I don't think you have a single great line of dialogue in the movie. You have some that are okay. You have maybe one that's good.
Yeah, just one. And that's Lori at the end when she's talking about every time Michael kills, he transcends. I do like that line.
I think it's a good line.
I hated everything else.
I think it's a good line, but
it was a good way to describe Michael.
It is, but I also kind of have a problem with that line because they specifically told us when they got ready to do this trilogy, there's going to be no supernatural element to this character.
Okay,
He's just
then I can understand that.
So, and with how they did this movie, like I get infusing some of that. At the end of the day, you can't make a slasher where the slasher is not a little bit more durable than your average man. But I think the way that I'll say that the ending monologue of Halloween Ends, I think, is much more effective than the ending monologue of Halloween Kills. It does more to push the narrative along. This felt very focused and centered on the Michael Myers character, and I don't know how I felt about that, but I still thought it was a well-written line. It's more than you can say about 90% of this movie, though. So I will defend it slightly. The Evil Dies Tonight stuff. I think it was a little overdone, and I do think that it's a lot less easy to swallow when you have terrible dialogue around it.
And today's Evil Dies Tonight chant is yeet.
Yeet. Oh, good Lord.
God, imagine they try to say that in that movie. Yeet, yeet, yeet. God, money.
I mean, that's what that mental patient said when he jumped out that window, but
Oh my God.
It's terrible.
God, imagine
Sorry.
the knights. What about the knights who say?
actually, I will say, I will stand by that scene. I was heartbroken when I was watching that scene. I know everybody else thought it was like
absolutely.
funny. I heard people saying like, "Oh, that's laughable. Like this is so stupid."
No.
I was watching that and I was like, "No, please don't kill this guy. Please don't kill this guy. I don't know why he's in that psych ward to begin with. This is like
How is he
like-
easily mistaken as Michael?
I was like, please don't let this guy die. Like, this is so sad. This man is scared. He's like a child, and now he's gonna like this. Oh, I hated it in a good way. Like, I thought it was a really effective scene to put in there to really show the monsters that these people have become. But
Right. Especially, it's sad that the actor died before the movie.
Yeah, that was the really upsetting part too. And when I got to the end and I saw the dedication, I was like, "Are you kidding me? This is how he goes
They
out?"
killed this guy. Like,
Oh, I was so sad. But yeah, I get it.
mhm.
So I guess before we get to Halloween Ends, obviously we'll do another score here. So I think we'll actually do out of 10. So
Okay.
Ooh, out of 10.
Ooh,
Okay.
I'll do my best on 10s.
Yeah, I don't have a out of 10. I'll try to.
I'm
translate.
such a letterbox guy. So
I know, me
Letterboxd
too.
kinda ruined
Yes.
me.
Same
Letterboxd is the only way I keep track of my ratings.
So I guess for Halloween 2018, I guess if I'm going out of 10, I'll give it a solid 8. Like I said before, 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10. Same thing, obviously. This one, I keep bouncing back and forth. I would probably give this at least a solid 7. It bounces between that and about a 6.5. Just depends on the mood I am with dialogue. Again, dialogue is terrible. Evil Dies Tonight, that can go fuck itself, in my opinion. Fuck that shit. And Karen's death didn't affect me. I like the homage to Psycho. That was a cool little homage to Psycho, but other than that, I didn't really care. And Anthony Michael Hall, obviously, we all have our thoughts on. We have our thoughts on him. So yeah, I would say a solid 7 out of 10 for me.
Okay. Me. Okay. With the first movie, I would say 8.5 out of 10. Close I came with the 4.25. But for this one, for me personally, it's a 7.5. But if I were to actually rate it, it would be like a set, like kind of you, Gostin. It's just a solid 7. Just because with again everything we've talked about, like Michael, badass score, badass kills, amazing story, crap. The dialogue and just how the story was written, awful. Legacy character usage, awful. Something we didn't talk about, I definitely want to talk about more with Ends. Allison, how do we treat for such a potential file girl to be treated like dirt? Awful. So 7 out of 10.
If I'm translating the first movie, I'd probably also go with an 8 out of 10. For this movie, I've settled on a 3 out of 5. So I would give it a 6 out of 10. I really like the story progression from first entry to second. I like the story that they're telling overall, this overarching story and this theme that they're carrying through now. I like how it's progressed to this point, but there's just too many problems to ignore for me in this. Anthony Michael Hall being at the top of that effing list. But the ending, the dialogue, Allison, I think I could go both ways on, depending on how she's treated in the next one. At the time, that's what's going through my mind. I don't know. 6 out of 10 feels fair to me because I do think it's solid. I think it is a solid movie, but there are just, it's a solid horror movie. I think if this is in any other genre, the dialogue just doesn't work.
Or a slasher movie.
Yeah, slasher. I think maybe action's really the only other genre that could get away with this terrible dialogue, but and still be considered good. I think it's a solid movie. I wouldn't say it's at that good movie, great movie level. It is towards the bottom of my ranking for the Halloween franchise. So yeah, 6 out of 10, I'd say is where I would settle out of 10 on that.
And now we are here at the finale of the trilogy, and the as of now, obviously, with the news that broke, what at the time was the final Halloween film, which I think we all kind of knew that wasn't ever going to happen.
It's
no.
We are
nothing
here.
is ever the last ever.
Yeah, as long as it makes money, they will always find a way.
If the sun is still burning, then a franchise is in danger of being rebooted.
Yeah, Saw did it 3 times, and it took them 3 times to get back where they needed to be. And
I'm so excited to see that. I have not seen it yet. I'm so pumped.
Oh, you have not seen Saw
10.
X yet?
No, I haven't.
Ooh,
I haven't. Honestly, I haven't been
immediately.
to a theater in forever. So, like any new
wow.
movie, believe it or not, and this is still ringing true, I have not seen a single movie that has come out in 2023.
Man, still,
I have not had any time to get to any of these. And when I do have time to watch a movie, I have been watching things that bring me comfort and not things that are new.
So you have not seen Scream 6 or Evil Dead Rise?
I'm not a Scream guy. I know that's controversial.
Fair.
I'm not a big Scream fan.
I need to talk to Frank Riker from the Slaughterland on that. He's spreading his negativity on the film.
I've never been a big Scream guy. I do like the Evil Dead franchise, but I haven't seen that. My wife would not go see it with me because the trailer made her almost pass out.
And there's a reason for that when you watch it.
Yeah, I had a feeling. So yeah, I still haven't seen a single movie this year. I'm hoping to make Saw 10 my first. In October,
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, Saw 10, but definitely Evil Dead Rise need to be.
No, I'm very excited to see that. It's a priority watch as soon as I get the opportunity. Every movie that I watch now is pretty much for the show, so that's just where I am. But yes, Saw 10 is a priority. Evil Dead Rise is a priority. There's a couple others in there, but yeah, still haven't seen one that's come out this year, so that's fun. But
the last in the theater film I saw was Barbie, and that was
Barbie. Okay,
that was atrocious.
God,
I hated it so much.
What was the last film I saw in the theater? I think Pearl was the last movie I saw in theaters.
Pearl was the last one for you. Mine was actually last week with The Exorcist.
Spoiler free. How was it? What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I heard. I've seen,
it's back and forth. It's now legitimately between like your David Gordon Green supporters versus what again, nice segue here. What Halloween ends freaking ended Halloween and people are betraying the guy, which that's not me. I'm just such a huge fan of the first Exorcist movie. So this movie already had high expectations for me. I'm like, how in the world are you gonna go ahead and mess with perfection? They found the way, in my opinion.
I have not seen the movie, but I saw one clip of one of the worst lines of dialogue I've ever seen in a horror movie. So I'm not eager to watch that anymore.
No.
But Halloween ends.
So Halloween ends. Nice segue.
So Brett, I want to kick this off with you because obviously you've
my pleasure.
You have obviously made your opinion pretty valid already over the course of our last 2 hours and 15 minutes. So
let me take cover real quick. I just gotta.
Yes.
I will try to be nice because what I do like about this movie is Corey Cunningham. Everything about him screams to me what John Carpenter was trying to do years ago with the whole idea of the shape entity and making it a whole anthology, with like the original Halloween 3. That is his vision. And the Corey Cunningham story would have fitted perfect in that realm. and I loved everything they did with Corey Cunningham. In my opinion, I think it's fantastic. Why do we have to do it with this film? Like, if we could move Corey, here's my big thing: if Halloween Ends could have been the sequel, like the second movie, and Halloween Kills be the finale, I feel like that could have worked better, in my opinion. I know, like, from a story perspective, not, but if they would have just reworked everything and put Corey Cunningham, introduced him in 2018, and just develop him as the story goes on, that could have easily worked. But inappropriate time to do Corey Cunningham with this, because this movie is called Halloween Ends. Your job, David Gordon Green, is to end it in a satisfying manner. And you're telling me you're only going to give me 10 minutes of this epic 40 to 45 year build between the Laurie and Michael storyline, and you ended the way that you did, and you made Michael look weak the entirety of the movie. You give him, just, in my opinion, still an unsatisfied death, like, of how, because to me, if you were going to end it, you would end it in the Myers house with both of them. You ended where it started, in my opinion. And I just didn't like how they did not do that. Instead, they did something with a grounding machine and all that. I will not go more forward towards that because hate it. It's brutal, man. It breaks my heart. Like, Michael is just presented like such a weak character, and what you could have done that's perfect, again, like my talk earlier, is to carry on the franchise, the future of the Halloween franchise, is you could have easily done Corey Cunningham versus Allison, the new Laurie and Michael, in the future of this franchise. I was so ready to be invested in a possible another trilogy with those two characters. If you would have wrote, like, Corey Cunningham, they wrote perfectly. Allison, she just got worse and worse. And with her being treated so stupid of dating Corey, like the bad boy and all that, and we all know she's a lot smarter for that. She's the valedictorian. How do you not like, you gotta have some kind of common sense. So, like, everything Corey Cunningham, perfectly well done. The only thing I enjoyed in this movie, and some of the kills, but how they treated Michael, and again, a 45-year bill to finish the story between Laurie and Michael, handled horribly. Sorry, I had to breathe there for a minute.
You're good. So we got Brad from Let's Talk Movies. A hot take: Michael was handled beautifully in Kills and Ends. I said what I said. No takebacks.
And he joined right in the perfect time too.
I might have something to say about that in a minute. But
all right, yeah, that's like Connor's turn.
Yeah, let's hear your thoughts, Connor, on Halloween Ends.
First time I watched Halloween Ends, I spent most of the movie asking, pardon my French, what the fuck is going on? I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't know why they were doing this to me. It felt like a personal attack. I was very upset by this movie. And after finishing it, I said, I will never watch this again. Obviously, I don't keep my word to myself very often, because I just like, you know what ended up happening, honestly, and I hate to keep bringing this movie into the fold. I'm not going to obviously talk about it much, but I already remembered what happened with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 and how I started hating the movie, and it was just different enough that when I watched it again, I got it. And I was just hoping and praying that my second watch of Halloween Ends, I would get it, because I don't want to hate any of these movies. So I put it on again, turned to the lovely streaming app that is called Peacock. By the way, there's probably not a worse streaming service out there, but I digress. Turned on Halloween Ends, and I absolutely loved it. I think the way that they finished yet carried on the theme that was started in John Carpenter's first movie was done so well. And there's something that Brett said that I can completely understand the opinion on. I can completely understand being on that side, but I think it was actually perfect to put a character like Corey in this third movie and not have known him in the other two. And here's why. The first movie, it's very much Michael Myers. You can see how he can corrupt people with Sartain, but it's a very minor corruption. He doesn't end up meaning all that much other than just getting Michael loose, right? Like he just letting him unleash and go crazy. Then in the second one, this evil, Michael's almost not really the primary evil anymore. You could argue that the town is just as evil as he is. They took an innocent life, and they did so in the name of catching this bad guy. In this third movie, that transfer of evil has pretty much completed. I love that Corey is introduced here. We get time for this town to turn against him, and then we get to wonder what caused him to be the way that he is. At first, I hated the scene where Michael grabs Corey in the tunnel and then they have this face off and then Michael lets him go. But I loved it the second time I watched it because I got it. He's not like reading or transferring evil or doing whatever. He's seeing the same thing in Corey's eyes that Dr. Loomis saw in Michael's eyes all those years earlier. And that's why he lets him go. And that's why he uses him until, guess what? Eventually, he is of no use to him anymore. And when he is of no use to him anymore, he kills him, just like he did everybody else in his way. That's what Michael does. So I love that Michael is sort of this wounded animal that he's had to retreat like an animal would. That's what Michael Myers has always been kind of described as, right? Like even from the first movie, he's very much working on instincts. He's calculated, but he's just as calculated as an animal would be while stalking and hunting its prey. And in this movie, he is a wounded animal. He is a predator, but he is a predator that's been injured. So he has to retreat. He has to put himself away. But as soon as he's able to do it by himself again, or at least he thinks he can, he gets rid of anybody that needs that he needs by his side. He doesn't need him anymore. What I love about Michael Myers being killed in this movie, I think it was absolutely the wrong way to market it. I think the marketing for this movie is its biggest betrayer because believe it or not, I think that the way they got rid of Michael in this movie is almost as perfect as how Laurie was treated in 2018. Think about how Laurie was treated in Halloween 2018, right? Michael doesn't give a damn about her. He doesn't care. She's just another body in his way. That's what she was in 1978. That's what she is now. Michael is almost that in this movie. He's dispatched of like he's nothing. Because at the end of the day, he is nothing. He is just a part of this larger scale of evil. It takes many forms. It takes many shapes. The line in this movie that Laurie says, evil doesn't die, it just changes shape, is right up there with me with a line that was spoken in Halloween 4 while Loomis is in the car with that weird hobo guy. And he says, basically along the lines of like Judgment Day, Armageddon, it always has a face and a name. And the same thing that was set up in the first movie, that evil can be anyone, anywhere, could have multiple factors. It could be nature, could be nurture, could be a combination of those things. And this movie perfectly wraps up what the first movie set up in my mind. So yes, I started hating Halloween Ends when I watched it the first time, but now I think it is a great way to end with an attitude that the first movie started with all the way back in 78. It felt like the same attitude went into making Ends that went into making that movie.
Hell yeah. And dude, I respect that totally because again, my buddy Brad feels kind of like very similar how you do with it. So I've heard it all before. So like trust me, millions of times for Brad, but I'm glad to hear it from a more fresh perspective with you, Connor. But do you know what I think the biggest fault? Like again, I'm hanging on the movie, and again, I don't go into a movie hating it. I want every movie to be good. It's just what you present me is why I'm going to judge. And here's why I think the real downfall with Halloween Ends is. It's this little thing called the global bastard. COVID shut down all the theaters and gave David Gordon Green and his team more time to think. They should have just stuck with the plan with everything being handled in one night. And that's just my opinion. I felt like that would have been a better direction to go versus the whole 4 years later, because you could have saved that for a future line of movies and to start with your Corey Cunningham and all that. Again, that's what I can most disappointed in. Like I give that Corey is just something Michael just used and then say, hey, I got no use for him. I'm going to kill him. understand that. But again, I think Corey Cunningham was such a good character that I was interested in, wanting to know more about. And for him and Allison to have a feud going forward could have helped this franchise move forward. But how with everything just ended so abruptly and just kind of like unsatisfied for me personally, like where are we going to see? This is where the problem we have now. Where's it going to go? I have no idea. And if we had Corey Cunningham and Allison Steele, we maybe could have gone that direction, possibly, if that's what Miramax wanted to do with it. So I was just disappointed that the one character that this trilogy really did right with Corey Cunningham, and you just cut him off, kind of really dissatisfied me.
Yeah, I would agree right there with you, man. So, Brad, I felt the opposite. I went into Kills 100% for sure that I would absolutely love it, and left feeling more confused than anything else. I walked into Ends nervous and loved every second of it.
Nice. Hell yeah.
See, I am glad
that are coming for me.
Austin, you started on the slightly disliking side, right? Like that's where you kind of started out.
Yeah, when I first saw, because literally the only thing I watched going into this was the teaser trailer. That was all I watched. I never watched any other trailers. I didn't read any plot synopsis or anything.
That's a very smart thing to do.
Yes.
So, dude, I watched every trailer, every tease, every whatever, like the 800 trailers they released for Halloween Kills, and I was just, God, I was on cloud nine wanting to go see it, and then obviously left very disappointed.
That was The Last Jedi for me.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. I felt that way with that film too when I first saw it. But yeah, I just watched that. I went in blind. I do think it did help me with the film because I did walk out liking it. Like I gave it a solid 3 when I left the theater. And then, but at the same time, I still had all my complaints. A lot of them, like what Brett was just talking about, I had the same problems too. Like, why would you do this for a third chapter of a trilogy? You know, I hated how Michael was represented. I was like, that's not Michael Myers. Like, this is what the hell are you doing? Like, why are we focusing on this guy? While I like the Corey Cunningham story, I would say story-wise, out of the trilogy, I do like this story the most. I still stand by that. I still think this is the most
for Corey.
Yep, I would say it's the most interesting, the most solid story out of all 3 of the films, especially over Kills, because to me, there's no story there. That's just, hey, let's have Michael kill a bunch of people, which he does. But it took me a good 8 months to finally be like, you know, I think it's time. I should rewatch this. I should see if my thoughts have changed or if I hate it more, if I like it more. Because when I did my ranking, I boldly said, like, this is the film that has the biggest potential to drop every time I watch it. But it's jumped up significantly because, especially after last night rewatching it, I just rewatched it back in July just because I wanted to watch it. After last night, yeah, I'm a fan. I thoroughly enjoy this film. I really, really like the Corey Cunningham story even more. I think it's the most unique because I look at this trilogy in a weird way. Like the first film, 2018, is a straight homage to the original 1978 film. The second one is just a great homage just to slasher films in general because, I mean, it's just a gore fest, slasher fest. This film, the best way I can describe it, and I've been trying to tell people this is the best way to watch this film. Don't watch this as a Halloween film because if you go in with that mindset, you are not going to enjoy it at all. It's going to be a disappointment for you. You're going to watch it in a completely different manner. I look at this, watch this film as if it was actually a John Carpenter film because this to me feels straight up like a John Carpenter film. Just the beats it hits, the way that it goes. Obviously, the score obviously helps it tremendously, but that's how I see it. I see this as like a great homage to multiple John Carpenter films. Obviously, one of the biggest ones that's in here is Christine. Arnie Cunningham, Corey Cunningham. I don't think that's a coincidence. The junkyard scene, again, don't think that's a coincidence, but I do. I think this is a fantastic film. Similar to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, not to the extent of me being like, this is the worst thing ever created, personally, but I this is now my fourth favorite Halloween film. Like, this was at number 9 last year when I ranked it. This is now number 4. Much like how earlier 2 years ago you would ask me where I put Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, that would have been at number 12 easily. Yeah, it's number 3 now. Obviously, like I said earlier, but I think it was the same way with me though too, Connor, with you. Like, it didn't click for me, but after rewatching it, I was like, I totally get it. I still think this was the wrong time to do this. Like, I still would have. This would have been a 4th chapter in a quadrilogy of films. Probably
like
be
an
like
epilogue.
or like an epilogue or something here. I would probably rank it even higher. And I don't like how Corey is just like killed off at the end, because I was so interested and so intrigued and loved every minute of his story. And then he just stabs himself in the throat, and I'm like, oh no, like, even if they would have killed Michael off, like if Corey would have been the one to actually take Michael out, and he like continues the legacy of Michael Myers, because I still sad to say, I do still love James Jude Courtney as Michael Myers in this film. I still love what they do with Michael. Corey is a fantastic Michael Myers. Like, if that would have continued the Michael Myers legacy of evil in Haddonfield.
His stuff under the mask is really solid.
Fantastic.
I think.
And again, that junkyard scene, God.
Yeah.
And I do want to throw something in there, if I could, and something that you said there. I think this would be a Halloween movie if you went into it thinking it would be a Halloween movie, if you didn't know there was any other sequels. Like, if you knew how Michael Myers was treated throughout some of the other sequels, and even like earlier in this trilogy, you might be a little disappointed. But if you just saw this as like a through line from 1978 to this movie, I could see how how this could make sense. But it's also a great homage to Halloween 3. I mean, even past the opening credit sequence, which uses the same font, same style, but it also uses a very similar attitude of this is going to sound really bad coming from a Halloween fan, but let's not let Michael Myers get in the way of telling the story we want to tell. You know, that's what Halloween 3 did. They said, let's not let this get in the way. We're going to make what we want to make, and we're going to make it the best way we can. And damn it, if everybody in this movie wasn't trying as hard as they could to do everything they could to make this good, it's hard to say that. I mean, it felt like it had some of the better dialogue of the 3 movies, I felt like. It felt like it had some of the tightest shot sequences. Cinematography was on point. Score was on point. The acting was on point. It's not a single bad performance I can point out. So it's like
the most serious of the films.
So it to me, it felt like everybody was on their A game, but it's just one of those movies that you're either going to like the direction they went, or you're not going to like the direction they went. And it had that same attitude that the first film had and that Halloween 3 had, because I will contest those had the same attitude. Let's make a great standalone story that stands on its own merits. And I think this accomplished that.
Yeah, like, I respect the direction they went, because, like, again, why do you think I love Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 so much?
Exactly.
Because it goes in such a different direction. And I appreciate it because it legitimately, in my opinion, is the most original idea in the entire franchise, in my opinion. Yeah. Even though Rob Zombie didn't want to make Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. He didn't want to make it. Not. But you know what? Money gets thrown in your face. What can you do? And he made a masterpiece. I always joke with people, it's Rob Zombie's cinematic masterpiece with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
I agree with that.
Like, his best, like, better than The Devil's Rejects. And I know a lot of people's favorites is The Devil's Rejects. But I respect different. But I don't agree doing different with this one, with Halloween Ends, again, with the 45-year build, the whole, again, like you said, Connor, the whole marketing department say this is the end of a 45-year build, and it gets overshadowed by Corey Cunningham. Again, Love what they did with Corey Cunningham. Again, kind of like with Austin. If we can make it an epilogue or like another anthology type movie with Halloween 3 and 78, it would have worked masterfully. But again, for it to overshadow pretty much the biggest storyline in your franchise's 45 plus year history, I just feel like it was ill time to do that.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like the themes it was going for, I totally understand it. It's just, again, it's just timing with everything.
Oh, Travis Mitchell with the.
Hope
I
everyone's
respect the
well.
hell out of that comment.
Halloween 2018 is my favorite Halloween period. Kills coming in second.
Dude,
That is one hell of an
speaking
opinion,
of
my man.
different, I love different.
I love that. That sounds good to me. I wish everybody could put their Halloween rankings in here so I can read them, because if you are watching this and you can or if you're watching this later, especially like you want to comment it, I will definitely come back and look at this, because I love seeing what people think about my favorite franchises. I would love to see what everybody's ranking is for this whole franchise, let alone those movies.
Yeah, and Travis brings up a good point here too.
Why end struggles is 2018 and Kills establishes a tone, story, and characters, yet ends ditches most of it, losing a lot of the charisma and energy of the previous two.
Yeah, especially with Lori, like, cause she spent all those 40 years, like, building this tough up character, like kill Michael or kill Evil and all that. And then all of a sudden, Michael's still out there. Instead of hunting him down 4 years later, she's just going to forget everything that Michael did, just move on from the hate. Like, her daughter died, okay? Her Karen died that night. And then Lori says, I'm coming for you, Michael. You know, it's serious. And then 4 years later, she's talking about releasing her breaths of grief and whatever that dialogue was, of releasing breaths and all that. And then we get Lindsay, who just barely survived. You think she'd be an impact of the movie. She becomes a card reader and a bartender. Like, that was completely left field. And here's the two ones that really aggravate me, okay? Sheriff Hawkins. Or I think he's Sheriff Hawkins at the time, because I think Sheriff Barker retired all those years ago. So I think Hawkins is the sheriff now. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But he wants to freaking do gardens and cherry blossoms and speaking Japanese or Chinese. Like, that was completely left field versus he needed to hunt down Michael. And then what about the lady that lived, got stabbed in the throat? I think that is a horrible idea because of the fact that makes Michael look weak, that he can't kill a simple person. Because whoever Michael kills, they're deader than crap. There's no way they can possibly live.
Well, even the fact, too, that she lived through that, like, she literally got a gigantic piece of glass shoved into her throat. Like,
yeah.
You know how fast the ambulance would have had to get there?
Well, and plus you got to remember there's a speed limit in Haddonfield, all because of Halloween 2 with the Ben Tramer situation. So that's why there's a speed limit of 10 miles an hour. And that's why it takes everybody so slow to get to their places.
Yes. Bill, man, like, I even ordered it on my Letterboxd review last night. Like, I just wrote, "Yep, I'm a fan." Like,
I was gonna say, like, I would say, like, I don't necessarily agree that all those characters and story was wasted in this. I do think it can definitely come across that way, but to me, it felt like this interesting juxtaposition where the town itself is failing to heal, but the people who are most affected by this are the ones that are trying the hardest to be healed. I kind of like that about this. Like, Hawkins just completely takes a completely different approach. You know, he's going to show his softer side. He realized what he really wants in life, and what he wants in life. You know, I mean, the guy almost died. You know, if I almost died, I'd be like, what do I really want to do in my life? I need to figure it out, and I need to go after it. What he wants to do is get Lori and get him some cherry blossoms, and good for him.
Lori's cherry blossom, you can say.
Well, but believe it or not, I actually kind of like that dynamic there, because it's almost like she is his version of that. You know, that's almost like why he's so obsessed with it, right? Is like, he wants the same thing from both of them. He just wants to move on and be happy. And Lori wants the same thing. She wants to write her book, get it all out. Allison, I don't love that her importance was diminished. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge Allison fan. You know that, Grand Admiral of the Allison fan club. But I like that she does fall for Corey in this, and I don't think it makes her dumb because, truthfully, on the surface, he's the polar opposite of her boyfriend from the first movie. But what I also love about it is this perfect sort of like irony, right? That of everybody Allison could fall for, head over heels, it is the person most like the man that tried to kill her. You know, it's such an interesting way to take it, and it doesn't feel it feels quick. Don't get me wrong. Like the fact that they're arguing at that party like they've been dating for over a year is a problem that I have. But it feels realistic that this girl who's been through so much and who wants something so different and just wants to move on, finds somebody who she's intrigued by, who sort of mystifies her, but at the same time she has this like this just unusual attraction towards, that she would not only fall for him but fall hard. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've been there, man. I've had some rough relationships, and as soon as I get out of it, it's like you fall for somebody head over heels, the next person that you fall for, and you fall hard and you fall quick, and when it doesn't work, it hurts. So I get what they were going for in this, and I appreciated it. I didn't feel like it was betraying the characters, but I did feel like it was departing from what they had set up in those other movies enough that it could be disappointing for people. And it's why it disappointed me the first time I watched it. I was like, Allison's useless, Hawkins is useless, Laurie is pretty useless. What are these people doing? Lindsay, I can't defend. She didn't do anything.
And I do actually, you make a strong point with the Allison side of it, so I am going to lighten up on Allison for that, because she has gone through a lot, and Corey Cunningham has gone through a lot too. So they're also in the
they're
way
like kindred spirits. Yeah, they're like the opposite. Exactly, they're like the opposite of what could happen to somebody who goes through something terrible, right? Exactly. Corey goes the direction that is the nature versus nurture route, where he, maybe he had this in him this whole time, but this stuff unlocked it. The town treating him this way unlocked that in his brain, whereas Allison is a naturally kind person. She doesn't have that in her. So when something happens to her, her first thing is, yeah, she's going to rebel a bit, but she's still that person inside. She's still that person who we met in Halloween 2018. That's what I liked about that dynamic between them.
And that's exactly why I wanted her and Corey, because they've already had a relationship and now they're enemies, and that's something you can easily explore in the future.
I definitely
we don't get that now because Corey is somewhere in his grave.
Yeah, I definitely get it. Yeah.
So Travis, the Halloween Ends novel tremendously helps the film and actually makes it feel like the conclusion of a 4-film.
I've not read that.
Drumpdum said that, and because he's reading the book and he's been saying that it helps. That's what I've been hearing.
I'll have to check that out.
And we do have Travis's official rankings.
Oh, yes.
Best to worst. We got 2018 Kills, Halloween 4, Halloween 3, Ends, Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, H2O, 1978.
Ooh, one of the lowest I've seen.
I love this guy.
We got Halloween 6, Resurrection, Halloween 5, and the worst for him is Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Oh, listen, Travis, you broke my heart putting Halloween 5 that low, but I love anybody who puts 78 lower than it is on most people's lists. I think it's a great movie and everything. I just love when people don't put it on such a high pedestal, compared to the rest of the films.
Which I don't mind. I don't mind losing subscribers real quick, but I'm almost at the point now where I'm ready to put Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 as my number 1 and 78 as my number 2. I'm like this close.
Oh, if we want to do some rankings, I'll lose subscribers on behalf of all of us at the end of this.
Oh, Brett, actually, I was just talking to Connor. I saw a guy, he put his list up somewhere. He had the original Halloween in last place.
Yeah, that's the lowest I've ever seen it, is in last. And
love it. I wish I could just message him and going, you crazy person, you. I love it.
So, upon rewatching Ends, I feel the Corey Allison scenes at the junkyard could take place in 2018. The death of Jeremy happening the same night, and her going to him after Cameron's death.
Yeah, see?
I can see it.
And I
I
guess
like this Travis guy in the chat. He's been
yeah.
he's coming in with the heaters, even if I don't fully agree with him. I like it.
So I guess since we're kind of already on the topic, I guess let's kind of talk about our ranking because I think we've pretty much covered everything for ends. So this is my ranking of the Halloween films. So I got obviously 1978 at number 1, Halloween 2018 at number 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 at number 3, Halloween Ends at number 4, Curse of Michael Myers number 5, Halloween 4 at number 6, Kills at 7, H2O at 8, Halloween 2 at 9, Season of the Witch at 10, Rob Zombie's Halloween at number 11, Resurrection at 12, and dead last and will forever stay there is Halloween 5.
Ouch.
That hurts.
But no, I seriously like that. I like that list a lot.
I like your list. Should we also give our rating for ends?
Oh yes, we should probably do that.
Yeah, because I'm still looking for my there. Okay, there's my Halloween list.
Yeah, I was thinking of pulling your guys' up if you want.
Actually, I want to say I'm pretty.
I think mine's private.
Oh my gosh, why is my freaking private right now? Let me make that public.
I think mine's public.
I don't know why I have it private.
So my rating, I should say, mine is a solid 8 out of 10 for Halloween Ends. Again, I do think the procession scene, I will say, I guess since I never really talked about that, I thought that went a little too far. I was just satisfied with the actual death of Michael. I think it could stay like that. Wish the Corey Cunningham character could have stuck around a little bit longer, could have maybe even carried on the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh yeah, the Band Geeks, we never talked about them. Fuck them kids.
No, they got what they deserve. But another cool thing with the Corey Cunningham they could have done, you didn't have to put him in the Michael mask. You could have put him in that weird like Scarecrow mask, because that was so different.
Yeah, I did like that
look. It's a good look.
So,
and I got my list updated too now. So
okay, yeah, I will.
So whoever you wanted to tackle first.
Well, Brett, I'm curious. What would you? So Austin said he would give it an 8 out of 10. What would you give Ends?
Okay. I'm still surprised I'm looking at here. I gave it a 3 out of 5. So technically that's a 6 out of 10, which I still stand by it because, again, the majority, if I could, I give Corey Cunningham a 4.5 out of 5.
Just by himself?
9.5. Seriously, by himself.
Yeah.
The only 0.5 that I subtract is him dying. Because I don't agree with that, but everything else just brings it down so low for me. So I just give it a solid 3 out of 5 because I'm not going to punish Corey Cunningham for legitimately carrying this movie.
Okay, yeah, I'd say 4 out of 5 if I'm doing out of 5. I would say like an 8.5 or like an 8.7. I think is what it averages out for me.
Nice.
Out of 10. It is my favorite of these 3 movies.
Nice. Hell yeah. And again, I respect it. I know I've talked trash about Halloween Ends.
Oh, no.
I'm one of those people,
about, right?
If you love Halloween Ends, I love it for you. Because again, like I want all movies to get their respect.
If we were all the same, it'd be a boring world.
Exactly.
Amen on that one. All right. So I found Brett's ranking of Halloween films.
And I just switched it to. Switched it to. I finally did it.
There we go. I respect the hell out of that. Hell yeah.
Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 at number 1, the original at number 2, Halloween 4 at 3, 2018 at 4, Halloween 3 at number 5. There we go. Words. Rob Zombie's Halloween at number 6. Kind of disagree with you there, but I can respect it.
It's okay Halloween. Because I love what they did with the first 40 minutes of Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I'll say too, if you've never seen the theatrical version of the first Halloween movie, it does make it a little bit more palatable. You get the dreaded R word scene is not in it.
The original Halloween 2 at 7, Halloween Kills at 8, Halloween Ends at 9, Curse of Michael Myers at 10, H2O at number 11.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the third act is the only thing I like about that movie. Other than that, it's just to me a complete waste of time. And a Scream wannabe.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then Halloween 5 at 12 and Resurrection as the worst. I kind of figured that much at least.
And I bet you when I watch Halloween Kills, the next time that one's going to go up. Just because I accept it for what it is.
Yeah, I mean it's okay.
Yes, thank you, Notre Dame.
Yeah, don't worry, guys.
There is one film on here I definitely want to ask you about because I'm kind of curious about it.
By the way, if you guys think you're going to lose subscribers for your lists, I'm going to take the heat off you real quick.
Yay! Again, I love different lists, so I'm really looking forward to this.
I don't see a Halloween ranking on here. I just see.
Let me make sure it's not private. Hold on.
Because again, what me and Brad put like
okay, that's my mistake. It was private. Let me turn it to public.
Yeah, but no, what me and Brad we always promote on our channel. We love to look at the different lists, so we could talk about it. Because again, if you're so different with your list or your opinion of a movie, we will actually appreciate the movie more because we're learning another side and another point of view.
That is exactly why I love doing Not That Bad so much. Is because like I want people to know that like different opinions about movies are important because you could help somebody see a completely different side of the film.
Or change your mind.
Or I've had my mind changed just by listening. We covered Child's Play 3 on the podcast.
Yes, nice.
And that was Gabe's pick. I'm not a Child's Play guy overall. My favorite up until a little while ago was the remake that just came out recently.
Nice.
So like I'm not a big Child's Play guy. Yeah, but when we covered that, like I was gonna call it That Bad when we started, and by the end of it, hearing Gabe's perspectives, I not only moved it to Not That Bad, but now I think it's my favorite of the franchise. So,
very nice.
Love
and plus, if just in case if anybody is curious, Cody Leach, his whole horror movie journey began with Child's Play 3.
Oh, yes. Cool. Yeah, Cody was on the show. He's very cool. Yeah, I love Cody.
Yeah, I had him on about like 3 years ago. Yeah, he was good shit to talk to.
Very cool. Yeah,
nice.
So here's Connor's ranking. It's just looking at it, it's very unique.
I'm already liking it already for one reason.
Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 at number 1, Halloween 4 at number 2, Halloween 2 at number 3, the original at number 4, Halloween 5 at number 5.
Yep.
Again, I can respect why, but
well, everybody's got to remember too. That was my first ever horror movie, so that movie quite literally changed the trajectory. It changed the trajectory of my life after watching that. So, like, I can't hate on it, but I do genuinely love the movie. I do think it gets entirely too much hate.
No, the movie I respect for most people is their first time, like their first movie that got them into horror. Because again, like you, Connor, how 5 just changed your life. That's The Conjuring with me. That's the one that changed my life. Because without The Conjuring, I wouldn't be right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Friday the 13th, part 7 for me.
Yeah, there we go.
Nice. You said part 7?
Yep.
I'm a big defender of part 7, so great pick.
I'm not a big parts guy for Friday. Which one is that?
That's Carrie versus Jason.
Oh my god, I love that movie so much. I love that movie so much.
Man. So Halloween 3 at number 6, Halloween Ends number 7, Halloween 2018 at 8, Rob Zombie's Halloween at 9, Kills at 10, H2O at 11, Resurrection at 12, and Curse of Michael Myers in last place. Are you a theatrical or producer's cut guy?
I heavily prefer the theatrical cut. I think the story of I think the producer's cut is much more put together, but the story is unforgivable. So I'm not, but I did revisit that recently. It's not going to change in the ranking, but the rating is going to change whether it's up or down. I can't say because we might have something to say about that on the show again. So, but we did cover that on the show at one point. I just think Resurrection has much more entertainment value, and it doesn't. If I watch it as a comedy, it doesn't make me as mad as Halloween 6. So Halloween 6 just makes me mad in so many ways. Wasted my favorite character.
I will say, somebody actually made a big cuts of the producer cut and the theatrical cut for part 6 for Halloween. I combined both of the aspects, like their strongest points together.
Yeah, that's the
And
Blue Myers
honestly,
cut?
yeah, the
Yep.
Blue Myers cut that Lee did. And I absolutely love that cut the best. I wish that was the movie.
I don't hate it. I think I like the theatrical cut so much because it just feels like a movie from that time period. And
Right,
I'm
exactly.
very nostalgic about that time period. But yeah, I like the Blue Myers cut because it brings in a lot more of the Loomis stuff, and it does it brings in the better score, which I do think that the score that's one of the biggest robberies of any filmmaking process ever that we didn't get. If you actually listen to that, like there's a producer's cut album that's on iTunes for Halloween 6, and it's some of the best stuff in the franchise, in my opinion. Nice. It's really good. Yeah.
And damn, Travis is on fire right now because he just said Jason Goes to Hell.
I'm way
Jason Goes to Hell is the favorite?
That's, again, because I was with Stream the other night because they were like the exact same way. Ken from Sledgehammer Horror.
I dig the hell out of that. I don't have it in dead last.
Sorry.
No, I don't. I think talking with Adam Marcus about it, and just like I was able to just kind of ask a couple of questions and just like hear him talk about it, and I was just like, yeah, that completely changed my mind about the movie. I still don't love it. I still have problems. It's still second to last, but it's not dead last, and there's a good reason for that. So I respect any ranking that has.
And quick question real quick, how are you all feeling on part 8? Because lately that one's getting the love it finally deserves. So I wanted to see if you all are on that train.
Overhated, man.
Part 8. Which one is part 8? I told you
Jason takes a boat ride.
Oh, I hate that movie. That's dead last. Oh, no. I hate that movie. I detest it. I don't want anything to do with it.
You don't like slimy Jason?
You to do some research behind that movie, and hopefully you might change it a little bit.
Maybe I gave it a 1 out of 5.
See, I used to do. I was on your team on that, but again, the more I watch it and doing the research behind the movie for a certain video I did, I fell in love with it.
Oh, nice. My favorite is Jason Lives. I think it's like the coolest of all of them. I like that he's like a
part 4 guy, but I respect part 6.
Me too. Love part 4.
I get part 4.
My favorite Jason.
Yeah, that's final chapter, right?
Yep.
Oh
yeah. That's actually number 4 for me. So.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Hell yeah.
I respect it. I like that movie a lot.
So, man, cash it back up here, Travis. Yeah, right. So I respect Halloween 1978. It just gets worse upon every rewatch.
I get that.
See, I felt that way, and that's why I finally put Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, because there's one character. It's all because of one character, and that's Annie Brackett with Hi, Paul. What? Hater.
I actually started writing a sequel to Halloween 5 for fun, taking place on the same night. Halloween 5 is bad, but the characters and stories are left in a fascinating place.
I also have. I tried pitching a sequel to H5 before they did 2018. It didn't go very well. Mostly just because I just don't know who. I like you talk to somebody very low on the totem pole, and generally you don't get much higher than that. So I get that. It's fun to write your own sequels. You know, I get it.
I respect this ranking a lot. Halloween 6 used to be my worst, but it keeps growing on me a bit.
Nice. I get that. It has a great feel to it. It probably one of the best atmospheres of the entire franchise. I'll give it that 100%.
Easily. To give a hint on how much the novel improves the film, the homeless guy who attacks Corey is revealed to be another inmate from the bus crash.
Oh, that's really cool. Wow.
See, this is the kind of detail that the movie needed. Like,
that kind of explains why nobody went looking for that man's killer. I dig that. Yeah, nobody came looking for him. I like that a lot.
Halloween 5 as a film is bad.
But
I'll admit I like Tina a lot, and as a kid, Halloween 6 never played on TV, unlike 4 and 5. So the cliffhanger really made my imagination wander.
I don't agree with you about the bad film, but
there's one thing I don't like about Tina, but the rest of the film I do like Tina. It's not the hey. It's not actually like I don't mind all that. It's the one where she pretty much it's the one that she ditches Jamie. Like, I
Oh.
gotta leave. Well, no, stay with me. You're final girl. No, I don't want to be final girl duties. I just want to be me. Like, bye. Have a good one. Like, I'm dating boys. You'll understand someday. Like, what?
Deuces.
Like, yeah, peace with love.
Theatricals of both. Okay.
Just got the box set, so I'll have to experience
Lucky.
them. So for me in 1978, Loomis is great, but all the other characters just suck in my opinion. Even Brackett serves no purpose except to absorb exposition and not find a robbery of a mask and knife. Sus.
Yeah, I mean, no, I can definitely get that. I think the other characters are. I think honestly that's one thing I like the sequels for. Like after Halloween is I think the characters just got there were more characters that I enjoyed from the later movies than I did the first movie. So I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love this ranking. Many people saw Halloween 4, Halloween 5 together on repeat on AMC. So I think nostalgia binds them
That's
together.
how I saw it. Yep, exactly. 5 when I was 9, and then when I was 10 the next year, I watched 4 and 5. And
it's
those
a
are my
great
first
double
two
feature.
films. Absolutely. Love it. Jason Goes to Hell is my favorite Friday film. Hell yeah. I love that opinion. Seriously. That's great.
I respect it. But yeah, it's my least.
I don't think any of us agree with that, but
no, I respect the hell out of it though.
Of course, I love it. I love it. Producer's cut for H6. Okay, I get that.
Okay.
I would prefer that just with the Loomis stuff because I will say
the Loomis stuff is great. Yeah.
To me, man, Loomis is the heart and soul
of the cult, like the Thorn cult. I like the producer's cut on that, but for everything else, I like the theatrical or the director's cut.
Love the score of the theatrical cut, man. God,
oh yeah,
good. So unique.
Good.
Resurrection isn't boring. It moves unlike Halloween 5, Halloween 6, and a few others. And Michael doesn't look awful, so I think that's a big advantage.
Travis, I'm liking a lot of what you're saying, but I don't want to have to fight you. Quit the H5 hate,
buddy. Jason's heart looks like a sweet potato covered in barbecue sauce.
Yeah, potato.
Very fair.
All right. Gross. I will never look at that stuff again. Yeah. I think there should be a comic of Friday Part 8 that brushes through the boat stuff and expands the New York.
That would be really cool. I think that would be really, really cool.
Again, that's what they wanted to do. But again, with the budget they received, there wasn't enough to do what they wanted to do. That's the main fault of the movie.
You mean Jason Takes Toronto?
Yeah.
Or Vancouver.
So Jason Goes to Hell, Jason Lives, and New Beginning are my top 3.
Ooh.
Love it. Especially with the whole New Beginning with 5. Like, that's an interesting one.
Let's humor Travis here. Do we want to give our top 3s in Friday?
I don't mind to do it. I did the other night, so I still got it fresh on my mind.
I would have. I know what my number 1 is, but for whatever reason, I can't remember what my next 2 are.
So I got it right here for mine already. Number 1, we already said Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. Number 2 is Friday the 13th Part 2. And then number 3 is the original Friday the 13th from 1980.
Ooh.
Because I respect what that movie did to set up future horror icons.
Okay.
Plus, Tom Savini's the damn man, so.
So good.
So good, yeah.
So mine is, I just shared this the other day or yesterday, and I don't even remember it. But
I get it.
Final chapter is my number 1. Freddy vs. Jason is my number 2, and the Friday the 13th, 2009 remake is my number 3.
Fair. Love that top 3 too, because I have Freddy vs. Jason as my number 4, and then the remake as my number 5. So not that far off.
And I do have Part 7 at number 6, so it's in the top half.
Yeah, I dig to see it.
And I'll admit this, and sorry, Connor, I do have Part 7, Carrie versus Jason over Jason Lives in my ranking.
I respect it because here's the thing, right? My number 1 is Jason Lives, but my number 2 is The New Blood.
Nice.
Carrie versus Jason. I love it. Number 3 would be the remake as well. I think it's just awesome. So yeah, but I both Freddy versus Jason and Final Chapter are all, complete my top 5. So like we're not super far off. The only thing I'm far off on with Brett here is the original. I actually have the original in 10th out of 12th place.
And
So.
I totally understand that with what the film was at that time. For instance, it's not as entertaining. It's just the mood, atmosphere, and the traditional kills, and just to start the whole story of an icon.
Yeah.
That's why I love it so much.
I get it. It's a
But I
respectable
do
film.
not suggest watching it on 4K because you'll get to see Pamela Voorhees very easily in one scene. But
Autographed of
Oh.
Kid Jason on the bottom of my board.
oh,
That's great.
lucky. That's
That's
so
funny.
awesome.
I like that.
I saw Friday 2009 once when it came out, but vividly remembering someone while pissing.
Oh, okay. All right. Different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Hell
Literally.
yeah.
Part 7 makes me think of the lake is blessed, cursed as her dad comes out of the water at the end, like Jason does. A fascinating idea to explore in the new series.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, so well, I think that pretty much covers most of everything I wanted to cover. If there's anything you guys would like to add at all to our little discussion here at all?
I got nothing else. Got to talk about 2 amazing franchises. So y'all got a special with Friday the 13th thrown in there.
I made up for yesterday.
Yeah, so I'm satisfied. So I thought we had a great discussion tonight.
Yes,
me too. Yeah, thank you for having us. This was a blast, and love getting to hear different opinions from people. And anybody listening, I would love to hear your opinions on this franchise and celebrate our differences with movie opinions. I think that needs to be said more. That's what makes movie discussions so fun. You're not going to
offend in
anybody.
a respectful manner.
Yes.
Don't just say like I hate it and you're wrong. Like tell me why you're wrong. Just don't say, well, you're wrong.
Right. Have respectful conversations. At the end of the day,
so you want to murder my cat.
Thing. Right. We all.
I don't really have a cat, but like
that's the thing, right? I shouldn't get death threats because of my Halloween opinions, and neither should you. So yes, respectful conversations. You can definitely disagree with people, but be cool about it. We're all great.
I literally joined a Facebook group for like a couple hours, and I exited out of it because I put my ranking up on there. I had a few people who were like, "Oh, I respect it. I don't agree, but I respect it." But I had a lot of people like, "This is the worst list I've ever seen. Oh, you're wrong. How can you put Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 over the original Halloween 2?"
Yeah, I've gotten death threats for that.
Are the initials for that Facebook group K and F?
No, actually, they are not.
K and F. I think many people left for different reasons other than death threats. Although
no, it was all the Halloween gushing.
Yeah, that was pretty well. Yeah,
still there.
Possibly other reasons, but yeah, death threats are things that I'm not. Star Wars fans, Halloween fans, you get death threats for your opinions. I just wish people would realize that it wouldn't be fun to talk about movies if all of us just went, "Oh, you like that movie? Oh, me too. Here's what we like about it." Because guess what? When you're done, that discussion's over. You got nothing else to talk about.
Yeah.
What are you going to talk about next time?
So do you
celebrate your differences.
Weather?
Yeah. Do you eat food?
Yeah, man. Like my Nightmare on Elm Street ranking. Oof. My number 1 is Freddy versus Jason. My second is the remake.
I love this. You gotta have a show about this next.
Dude, no. I'm a heavy defender on the remake for Nightmare on Elm Street, but I've never seen someone put it that high. So that kind of makes me happy. But I'm an original guy all the way through and through.
My number 3 is Dream Warriors, and then after that is the original. So the original is my number 4.
Ballsy.
I
love
respect the hell out of it. This is what discussion about movies should be, man. I don't agree with any of that, but but I respect the hell out of it. That's what this should be.
Oh my god,
that's so great.
Yeah,
because Travis, go Travis. Last comment.
I want to see it. Yeah.
Number 1 is Freddy's Revenge.
Holy shit.
Oh, okay.
Travis?
No, okay. Sorry. That makes me feel better because I thought he said Freddy's dead, but it's Freddy's Revenge, the second one. I love the second one.
Let's go.
The quote-unquote gayest horror movie ever. I respect it. I like it. I like Freddy in that. I think he's a lot scarier in that than he is in the original.
It is a fabulous film in more ways than one. Love it.
But no, that's great. But the original, in my opinion, should be the perfect horror movie of all time. Just ruined by the last 5 minutes.
I could say that. I personally am a Dream Warriors guy. That is my number one. I love
and
that
I
movie
respect
dearly. It took me a while to come around to it, but I'm definitely there. But I mean, the original's not far behind. Yeah, so that would be a fun conversation one day, huh?
And the
Where do you put the
remake.
remake? Let me guess. Last place. Second to last place.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're trying as defenders.
But I don't hate it as much as other people do. I have my problems are more with the acting in that movie than anything. Like how the characters are portrayed. So like I don't have the same issues that a lot of people do. You know, like I respect the choices they made with Freddy's look, even though I don't love it. So that respect kind of outweighs how much I don't like it. Here's how much that actually means to me. Not much. So, but yeah,
especially the actor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the actor I think I actually think the actor was awesome. A great choice. Great choice, despite his very small stature. I think it was a great choice. Yeah, I don't know. If I had to say a top three, like it'd be Dream Warriors, then the original, then New Nightmare. I'm actually a big New Nightmare guy. So.
That's a good one. Have you seen Dylan's New Nightmare?
Not yet. No, I'm excited because I think I saw the pictures of Dave in the costume, and I was just mesmerized.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
I'm so
You'll
excited
enjoy it if you're a fan.
Yeah, so excited.
I need to watch that, and I need to watch Never Hike Alone 2 now.
Watched it last night. I'll be honest, it's in my top 3 of Friday the 13th fan films.
Never Hike Alone is a great. Never Hike Alone could be a great entry in the franchise itself, let alone fan films. So
I agree.
I haven't seen 2 either. I'm excited. Start varying stages.
After a while, Jason starts looking like a varying stages of a cat turd with a hockey mask.
You're not entirely wrong. I actually have a new blood. I have a new blood Jason up there. You probably can't see, and I think when you get the figure, it looks great. But several shots of the movie, he looks. I could see that 100%. Yeah,
it's my favorite look of Jason, dude. That's the best portrayal of for Kane Hodder. Holy hell.
Well, I think that's why it makes those 2 movies so cool for me between Jason Lives and the New Blood is because they both feel like a Universal monster movie, but like if it was Jason in a Universal monster movie, like he's all especially decayed in that one. Yeah, with the lightning strike and everything, like that's on the nose, but like in the New Blood, you know, he's like decaying and he's got like parts of his bones are sticking out and stuff. Like it's just
his spine in the back.
Yeah, it's crazy cool. I'm down.
Yeah.
And
probably
New Blood Jason, probably, most variety and balance of human and supernatural Jason.
Great point.
But all right, guys, that is going to do it for our discussion on the new David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and our favorite designs of Jason. So
and some Star Wars sprinkled in there.
And a little bit of Star Wars sprinkled in. Always got to throw some of that in.
Oh, God.
But I want to thank Connor and Brett for coming in, man. I mean, this was a lot of fun. Definitely enjoyed talking some Halloween and even talking some other horror franchises.
Yeah.
I always love talking horror. I never think of doing anything else except Halloween because I just love Halloween so much. But I think we need to get together and talk about our unpopular horror movie opinions.
Dude, any day of the week.
I'm down.
I am always here.
Exorcist 3 is better than The Exorcist.
So we've been live here, I can see, for over 3 hours. I'm worried that if we talk controversial opinions, we will probably be live for 3 days. So, I'm pumped. Anytime I can come on here, it will be welcome. That conversation would be one. And thank you again for having me.
Oh yeah. And Travis is leaving us with one more final unpopular comment. Last Jedi.
You can't just drop the mic on that. Oh
no,
shit. That's incredible.
Love it.
He leaves us wanting more.
Bye, guys.
Love it.
Bye-bye.
Love it.
Well, all right. I guess before we go, I put you guys up here on the spot. So, Connor, you got anything coming out here on the channel?
We have an episode coming this upcoming Thursday. We haven't revealed what it is yet, so I'm going to stay silent on that. But coming up at the beginning of this week, as long as everything goes as planned, there might be some rearranging going on, but we have a live stream planned with our friends at Flopbuster. And for those who are observant, you will see that we are covering Rob Zombie's The Munsters for that live stream. It's going to be a lot of fun. We love our friends at Flopbuster, and they're frequent collaborators, so we're really excited to talk about that movie. And stay tuned this upcoming Thursday for a brand new episode of Not That Bad a Movie podcast.
And then, of course, good old Brett. What do you guys got coming out on Good Real Hunting?
Yes, sir. First, want to agree with Connor that the fellas and the lady over at Flopbuster are amazing people, so you need to subscribe to them. I always talk highly of them. They're great people. And for Good Real Hunting, what's coming up next week, we're not sure what day yet, but we did a poll, and we're going to be doing a Tearing It Up stream, which is our like tier maker stream, and we're going to be doing the Halloween characters for the entire franchise, where we put them on our tier list. So stay tuned to our socials to know exactly when that's going to be. And then towards the end of the month, we're going to do our big Fright Fight tournament to determine the best horror movie of all time, where we'll have 64 of the best all competing in one night. Which movie is going to be the best? We'll need your help to determine that. And we don't know the date to that one, but hopefully to get that soon. And lastly, I got a show on the Good Real Hunting called Back from the Dead that I do with Destiny Faulkner. It's a show we do that celebrates the horror movie anniversary. So we got our big October special coming out. And that would be on October the 29th at 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Lots of good stuff coming out. I'm kind of just winging it right now with things. Tomorrow I have the finale of our season 3 of the Talkalorian Live, where we are going to be discussing the Ahsoka show overall, kind of where we land on that and everything. So that should be a fun one. I am planning a watch along on Halloween. I do have a poll up on my channel right now. I got 5 different films you guys can pick from. It's either Dawn of the Dead from 2004, the 2003 Texas Chainsaw remake, The Shining, The Exorcist 3, and a film we've been gushing about the entire night, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
That better win.
I know what I'm voting for.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys go on over, hit that button just so we can get a film going. And if anybody wants to join, by all means, reach on out. Love to have somebody there to join. Travis says he has subscribed to all of us, and I guess The Last Jedi is
Thank
actually...
you, Travis.
Thank you.
And I guess The Last Jedi is actually his 4th favorite. His favorite is 6, 4, and then The Force Awakens.
Return of the Jedi at number 1.
Love respect for Return of the Jedi.
Love it.
I'm a little sad I don't see Empire, but I understand. It's not for everybody.
Different strokes for different folks. Yeah, I get it, though. It's my favorite movie of all time, so I get it.
All right, let's see here.
Rob
Zombie's Halloween 2. Vote.
Vote.
Yes.
And let me log into my other 9 accounts.
Yeah.
I can do that off screen.
There you go. Well, all right, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of the Midwest Cantina podcast. Again, got to thank Connor and Brett for being here. Had a great time talking here about Halloween and other things. So, but with that being said, you guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one.